stuffs it home.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
That was picked off, and it's a pick six by Jalen Petrie.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Looking to the end zone. It's got to be a touchdown. Drake Toll.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Patiently goes to Perry, who again swings under, hits it. He was fouled again by Reardon.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this Thursday afternoon. Man, a lot of things happening. Adrian Boitan, his run to try to win a national championship ended just moments ago in his semifinal match with Daniel Rodriguez of South Carolina. Lost the first set, tiebreaker 7-6, and then was down 3-1 in the second set and retired or could not continue. And so he finishes in the semifinals. The doubles team, Law and France, will play tonight, 6 o'clock, against a team out of North Carolina. Texas has a doubles team in the women's semifinals as well. So a pretty good run. I hate that it ended that way, but Adrian mentioned to us when we had him on, he has not stopped playing for over a week, and he had to go deep into his mind a few times to make sure he could get through some things. He said yesterday he dominated Lumberg, but it didn't end the way you want it if you're obviously a Baylor fan, Boitan or whoever else, but that's a tough way to lose it, but what a run for him.
Yeah, and Daniel Rodriguez, he mentioned, has only been playing singles. He hadn't been playing in the team. That was over for him. So before the tournament started, so that was going to be tough. And yeah, I mean, he 7-6, 3-1, and then he retired in the second set. So it'd be interesting to see what that was. I'm sure more than anything else, he's probably just spent.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, mentally and physically, he's got to be pretty tired right now. So yeah, I mean, definitely not the way that you want it to end. You want it to end with a win. And not the way you want to lose by just not being able to continue or whatever the case may be, which I'm sure we'll find out more. But, yeah, sounds like he was just suffering from exhaustion. And, you know, when the guy you're playing is just basically coasting by only playing singles and you're playing, doubles as well, yeah, that's going to make a bit of a difference. So,
all right, the football team has released their first 3 games and kick times at Texas State on September the 4th as a 6 o'clock kick. Then home against Texas Southern, a 6 o'clock kick on the 11th. And then the following week at home against Kansas in a Big 12 opener is 2:30. So the first 3 dates have been set against Texas State on the road, the first 2 home games against Texas Southern and Kansas State.
Yeah, that's nice. I saw a couple kickoff times. Oklahoma, it's kind of a running joke now that they play a lot of 11 a.m. kickoffs for some reason, like a lot. And so if you're, on the lookout for OU times, you can almost bank on it being at 11 a.m. And sure enough, they debuted theirs, and like 2 of their 3 are 11 a.m. kickoffs. But I also saw UT's schedule, and their opener against Rice is going to be like a 3:30 kick or something like that. So that's going to be hot. Unless there's like a storm that rolls through, that's going to be scorching. So I think Baylor really lucked out with their kickoff times. I mean, 6 is still be hot, but it won't be as brutal as a 2 or 2:30, 3 o'clock kick.
No question about it. 6 o'clock, you're right. It's still kind of almost that summer heat, but not quite when you play a 2:30 in that early in the season.
I see most of the complaints are that all of the first 3 games are on ESPN Plus, but
those games suck though. I mean, who's lining up network-wise to watch Baylor, Texas State, Baylor, and Texas Southern, excuse me. I mean, it's not like the BYU games and it's Kansas, too. So it's, Texas Southern, Kansas, and who's the third one I'm missing?
Texas State.
Or Texas State, okay, yeah. So, I mean, I get that. Those aren't really sexy games in any way.
Also, look, in the let's save yourselves from energy department, if you are complaining about streaming services and where your games are going, you are probably a person who, when they changed from the horse and buggy to the car, was like, I hate this. This will never work. Look, man, it's just, you're going to have to get on on board.
What do we do?
It was streamed.
Yeah, we've given you numerous options, and we're always working on more, but we have the app, YouTube, we're streaming. And if it's something you want and you want to watch it, you'll find it. And I initially pushed back against ESPN Plus when it first started, but I have a subscription to that. It's not a big deal.
Right now, you don't need to be a salmon swimming upstream. Be a tuna. Swim with it.
Yeah, I will say, though, that ESPN Plus app, I didn't always have good luck with that last year. There were a couple games because there weren't, people attending, and there's only, I wasn't trying to go cram into a media press box at this time last year. But there were a couple Baylor games that I had a really hard time, even though it was supposed to be on ESPN Plus, like it wouldn't let me log in or it would blacked it out or whatever. So, yeah, definitely use this extra time we have right now to figure out how the heck you're going to watch some of these. But, yeah, it should be on ESPN Plus, but I have had problems before.
I was told Larry Fedora many times tried to interrupt the ESPN Plus stream last season, so that was the problem. Now, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram is reporting that by tomorrow at some point, at least this is from their reports and their sources, that the NCAA could release their findings and also penalties against Baylor football and the athletic department. Now, whether or not that comes down tomorrow, it would make sense. We discussed it on Tuesday with Mac Rhodes, and he said it's time. He had said maybe even a month or two ago that they hope to get this back by the first part of the summer. Well, that's here, the first part of the summer. Whether it comes down tomorrow or not still remains to be seen. It's Memorial Day weekend. It would be a hell of a news dump, by the way. And whatever the penalties might be, it's a range of emotions. There are so many things that are flying out there of what could happen. Whether it is, and I don't know this, whether there's a possibility they vacate Big 12 titles, or whether or not there's a possible issue with a bowl, or is there something with scholarships and when they've already had so much attrition from that first summer when they lost most of their class. So that could come down tomorrow, and of course, if it does, we'll be all over it with SicEm365.com and SicEm365 Radio. And I'm telling you, I hope it comes down tonight. Get out of here. Come in. Let us know what's going on, and then Baylor can react accordingly, and you move on.
Well, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I do at least have like some small feeling of okay, I like the timing if that's the case. A Friday before Memorial Day weekend, be a great time if it's something you feel is going to get a lot of backlash to drop it then rather than on Monday morning of a normal week. So maybe there's something to that, but I'm not trying to get people's hopes up. I'm just saying that the timing is interesting if that's in fact the case. I'll say what's also interesting, and Mac Engel's the one that's been reporting on this. Obviously that's been the big story he's been covering, and I like Mac personally. I think he's a good dude. But he mentioned in that article as well, and this is something that I don't know if this has been common discussion or not, but there's a lawsuit going on right now involving two former players. And they were on Matt Rule's team, Justin Harris and Trayvon Lewis. And I had no idea this case was in the midst of going on right now, but it is down in, I think, Houston. And Baylor at the time investigated and said that there was no part, there's nothing on their end, and they cleared it or whatever. But then there's some discussion because of just the history and everything. So yeah, Trayvon Lewis and Justin Harris, or at least the woman who accused them, and a third walk-on player. That's ongoing right now.
But we knew those were the two that were withheld, right? They're the ones that had to go through the Title IX investigation, and then they never came back.
Yeah, they were booted off the team.
But I didn't know about the specifics.
But I didn't know that was going on right now until I read that article. So he had made mention that he wasn't sure if that would play in these various cases that are still alive or not. This one couldn't play into it because it happened after the investigation opened. But it was just an interesting note because I had no idea that was going on right now with those guys.
Well, and that's just something that's going to be out of the blue. If the NCAA says something that's not to the people with the pitchforks and the torches that have been waiting ever so patiently at the gates for for Baylor to fall on their face or whatever that they've been waiting for 5 years unnecessarily, but if it doesn't satisfy that Twitter mob, then they can be like, well, see, they still got one now, but,
that's always going to happen.
No matter whatever they give Baylor, it won't be enough. In some people's eyes, it'll be too much in others.
No,
right?
and I kind of tend to agree with Craig in that, if the NCAA really had something, because they really need to have a moment where they have something. I'm not saying an SMU moment but they need something to reestablish their credibility. If they really had something, they wouldn't dump it on Friday before a long weekend.
I don't know. I don't know that. That's what I'm saying. That's why from the very beginning I said I'm not trying to get people's hopes up here. I'm just saying on my end, I look at it like, okay, maybe that's something, the timing of it. But I'm not saying that like it is something. I'm just guessing that maybe it is, rather than being a Monday or a Tuesday, and we'll see. I mean, we will see if it does come out tomorrow.
254-339-1122 is the number if you want to call us or text us, be a part of it. YouTube, the chat continues as well as we are on the air until 6 o'clock. And it is ironic, and not to bring up something that's a scar, but it is ironic that it comes the day after the 5-year anniversary of Pepper Hamilton. And so I'm of the opinion, get it out there. If you want to fight some of it, whatever it might be, go ahead. And if it's really bad, I'm expecting not the worst, but I'm expecting probably something that's going to sting and hurt a little bit and maybe painful and maybe anger the Baylor fan base. I don't know. That's what I'm expecting just because of, in these cases, I'm expecting that because the NCAA, as Paul said, they need some sort of traction. They need a grip. They are now a wobbly, weak individual organization, but then again, they might even look worse if this comes down. It's bad, and they lose yet another, whatever you want to call it, rulings or hearings or penalties against the school, like they did against North Carolina or anyone else.
Yeah, but I mean, they could give the right penalty, and like we've been saying, social media, and screw social media. Social media is poison.
Yep.
And, I find uses for it, like finding news quicker and things like that, but as far as like the day long, all night, all everything, like let's break down everything to the smallest dust particles, arguments that happen. No, I have no interest in any of that, and you're never going to appease those people because they're just angry, upset people all the time anyway. So, I'm going to expect the worst and hope for the best.
And
that's what I'm doing.
Every journalist that I've seen throughout the years that says, I will be here on the front lines asking it, like Art Briles' first practice at Mount Vernon.
They're the ones in the very back of the line every time.
From Sam Ukiwatch's trial all through this. I've been at all of it. They've been at, not none of it, but mostly none of it. And every time, I'm going to be there. I'll have my torch, my pitchfork. They're not. So, again, if you're letting those people rile you up, believe me, they're only trying to do that.
That's all they want to do. They want to see bloodshed, and they want to see people bleed, and they want to see people die, and they want to see people hurt. Waco High spring game is tonight. We'll have their coach, Lyndon Held. He'll join us, in fact, at 3:45. At, oh, my goodness, I just went blank. At 3:20, Cowboys safety and Hall of Famer Cliff Harris, who's a part of that class that was going to be inducted and then they weren't, will be a part of that double induction coming up. He'll join us today at 3:20. Also today we'll hear from Art Strickland from the Colonial. Craig Smoak's off the radar. Paul's 5 at 5:55, and in between that, Rick Barry, Hall of Famer. We've had him on once before on the NBA playoffs. Want to get his thoughts about Luka Doncic. And Ellison High School in Killeen has announced their newest coach is Danny Cervantz. He's been at Odessa. He's been at Lubbock Estacado. He's been at a couple of other places as well. He replaces Todd Wright, who was resigned earlier this year. Not sure if you caught this story. Tom Westerberg is now the new coach at Hayes Consolidated High School. That's my last high school game I ever played. We got beat badly. He was the one initially that had the great run at Allen before Terry Gamble took over. Then he went to Barbers Hill. He took that job. It's been a couple of days, but when we had the story about Cervantz, I wanted to make sure we brought that up as well. Baylor baseball, they're in trouble. Bottom line. Right now, Kendall, Rogers. Kendall Rogers has them as one of the 5 teams out, first out. They were beaten today by Kansas State. Was it 9-4? They're out of the tournament. Texas right now leads Oklahoma. That thing's 3-1 in the top of the 8th. The loser of that game goes home. West Virginia stunned Texas last night.
Texas, if they get out of the losers bracket, might be a top 8 national seed.
Oh, I think they will be.
Yeah,
I think they will be because they won 2 out of 3 against TCU, and they got a piece of the Big 12 title. I think they win. And their facilities are obviously really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, them, Tech, and who's the one I'm missing? TCU are all going to be, big-time seeds in the tournament. But, with Baylor, I mean, they just – I don't know what's happened. Obviously the subtractions, that were announced the other day, obviously were not a good omen walking into the Big 12 tournament when you lose 2 pitchers before when you're already in a scenario where you're going to have to win some games, and they came out and they've lost their 2 games. So, and not even really, close contests either, right? I mean, it's not like it was a walk-off loss or something like that. I mean, they just got beat straight up twice. So, I mean, they were, a month ago, like firmly in this thing, and over the last month, they've just firmly pushed themselves probably out of this tournament.
Kind of like softball did.
Yeah.
Actually, like softball.
All right. Just one quick point. Texas being dominant in baseball again, is that was, I think, of all their athletic struggles, of all the things they had over the last decade or so that had fallen off the map, the one that was most surprising to me was baseball because, and nobody talks about this, but that's been over football, over anything they've done all time. Baseball's their best sport. By far.
Yeah, no, their history with what they had with Cliff Gustafson and, of course, with the Augie and now with Pearson, what he's done to rejuvenate that as well. All right, tonight, Bucks at the Heat. Bucks up 2-0 NBA playoffs. Phoenix at Lakers 1-1. Denver, Portland 1-1. Mavericks will host, and they'll have 16,000 plus tomorrow night at the AAC Game 3 up in that series 2-0. Drew Timme is over the concussion he received mentally in the championship game against Baylor, and he's announced that he's going to come back for his last year at Gonzaga. Baylor women, I mentioned they're going to play either Michigan and or Louisville. Today it came out that they're going to play Michigan in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. It's just a 1-game deal. Connecticut will play Louisville. And I do think at some point you still might see Baylor and Louisville on their non-conference schedule. Kalani Brown released by the Atlanta Dream.
Really?
Saw that story. She was released by the Atlanta Dream, and of course didn't play much at all last year. Of course, Nikki Collin, the head coach with Atlanta now with Baylor. Crawford softball lost last night to Italy 3-1. They play tonight game 2 of a best-of-3. They need to win. Crawford baseball. Tonight starts a 3-game series against Lindsay in Brock. Bosqueville lost to Windthorst 2-0. Play game 2 tonight. That game up in Weatherford. And Lake Belton starts a best-of-3 against Liberty tonight in Navasota. Cameron Yo and Buna game 1. Buna won 4-2. Games 2 and possibly 3 will be Saturday in Conroe. So that's a huge, mass amount of bunch of stuff. When we come back, Cliff Harris is going to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's had to wait a long time, just like others. He's next on SicEm365 Radio.
The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodward, Hewitt, China Spring, Martin, Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions, here to help you, your family, and your business. Whether it's great times or tough times, all of us need a bank we can count on. Great people with great technology dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person or use their online and mobile apps. Convenient drive-through and ATMs at all locations. They've got great products like First Deposit, deposit check using your smartphone camera. Just snap a picture of the front and back of your check and choose your account and deposit. Secure Lock Equip. You can control how your debit card is used, even set spending limits. Lock it when you're traveling. Instant notification when your card is used. I get text messages all the time, when my card is billed for something or other, and it's saved me a couple times of going, hey, I don't know what this is. Or it's helped me realize, I still have a subscription to something that I haven't used in months. The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home.
Pay over qualified buyer with $4,000 down to 2.9% TTNL extra. See deal for details.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encore. Drive off in the affordable luxury of a Buick Encore for as little as $258 a month. Or vacation in the spacious comfort of a 3-row Buick Enclave and save $8,500. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott at edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
Well, you talk about patience and perseverance and waiting his time. Cliff Harris is going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this summer. And he had to wait way too long to even know that he was going to go into it in the first place. And then, of course, last year, everything changed with COVID. Cliff Harris, the Cowboys' great Pro Football Hall of Fame safety, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. How patient a man are you?
Hey, David. Well, it was worth the wait, I think. I don't have a lot of patience, but you don't have a choice. I can't tell you how excited I am to have made it and going in with Drew and Jimmy and these guys. And so it's going to be a great event. And hectic because it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of activity going on up there, but it's going to be great.
Cliff, I've always wondered this, especially for guys who have to wait as long as you and Drew did. Like when the kind of emotion washes over you and you're kind of done, do you think like, oh wait, I need to let them know I'm a 44 long jacket? Like, do you tell them right away?
Yeah. No, actually, we measured at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago and took my ring size and jacket size, and so they've had it for a while. So I may have grown or shrunk, one or the other. So I don't know how it fits.
What has it been like trying to get organized and figure out like who's going, like family members? Right. I'm sure excited, friends. I mean, what's that whole process been like for you?
Well, it's been complex. I'll tell you. I organize. I'm a good organizer guy, But I'm organized into 5 different groups: my Arkansas people, my Washita people, my Dallas people, my media people, my all the things that are good. And then I've had 2 ladies that have been really, really good helping me, and my agent has been helping me a lot. And it is still complicated, because I think the Hall of Fame was overburdened, and with all these players coming in. First of all, there's 20 of us. Or 20 total players coming in, or about that number, and on in one weekend, which they're normally going to do 7, or 9, and so it's been it's going to be a fun time and a great time, and the Dallas Cowboy game layer against the Steelers layered on top of it. So I've got a lot of activity going on, which is a good thing to have happen to you.
Is Charlie Waters still going to be the one who introduces you?
Yes, he is. I'm going to be able to hear and watch his and approve his speech first, though. I'm going to make sure that I get an editing right for them, because they're no telling what you could come out of there with. He knows too much.
Yeah, the heck with the football. He knows everything behind the scenes.
But Cliff, here's what you need to worry about is, listen, you've edited, but from editing to microphone, I mean, you might have to, break out some of the old skills and tackle them again. You don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the way that this is going to work, and at least I've been told, has been that they're going to videotape his part of it. And I think that's going to help a lot in the timing of everything, and it's going to, get guys up and on, and they're going to videotape it. So I told him that was agreeable to that, as long as I had editing rights on it. So
had you already written your speech?
Yes, I have. I could give it to you right now if you need to hear it.
That'd be a nice exclusive, but
I've had 2 years to practice it.
So you had it ready. Then there's the delays, of course, with what happened a year ago with COVID. Have you looked at it lately? I mean, is it one of those things that when you look at it, you might tweak it a little bit, or are you just going to leave it the way it is?
Well, I've actually that's a good question, and an interesting question. I've had some of my friends look at it, and just last night, for the first time, I read it to my wife and a friend we had over last night, and they gave me a standing round of ovation. So I think it's going to work there.
Is it?
They sit up and cheer.
That's great.
Is it kind of strangely kismet that you and Drew Pearson are both going in at the same time? And not only were you Cowboys who had to wait a long time, but you were kind of Cowboys who were those super Gilbrandt finds. You at Washita, him at Tulsa, and not on a lot of people's radars.
Exactly. And matter of fact, Gil had just called me right before you called and asked me a question about the scout that came to Washita back when I was playing for the Washita Baptist Tigers in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. The scout's name was Earl Scuddy, and he was from Lubbock, Texas, and he was a writer. And he came to talk to me, and it's a long story, but it was and to have Drew come in as a free agent as well, and it's just a really interesting time, and then to go in with Jimmy, it's just going to be thrilling. And Drew and I have a commonality, of course, as being free agents and having a chip on our shoulder, kind of, because we were free agents, and when I came in as a free agent, there were 120 rookies that were out for training camp for the Dallas Cowboys, and the reason that there was because it was a strike year for the NFLPA, so the veterans didn't show up. So it was a blessing to me in disguise, because I got to play in 6 rookie games out there on the coast against the Rams, the Raiders, and the 49ers, and it gave the Cowboys coaching staff a better look at me as a free agent. So it was a really a great. I mean, good. I had good timing, not by my choice though, just by God's grace. You know.
Cliff, you obviously, overachieved given where you started and beginning as a free agent, like you mentioned, and out of a small school like Ouachita Baptist, but you also had to have a lot of belief in yourself, and you proved a lot. But was there any part of you, being an undrafted rookie, that thought, I'm going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer one day?
I think that was I've said this before, my friends growing up in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and then I moved to Desert Hot Springs, Arkansas is a resort. I mean, it's got 40,000 people in it. It's not very many, but it's a big city compared to where I moved my senior year to Desert, Arkansas. And I can tell you, the guys in Hot Springs, when I was a junior in high school and I was a second string junior varsity quarterback, if the coaches, the players, the students, anybody else, they said, "Do you think this guy's going to make it to this senior year?" They would have voted no. I grew my senior year, and I to 6 feet. I moved, and I was a quarterback, and quarterbacked an undefeated team, and boom, there it goes. But there were not, my expectations throughout my college career. I played well and had the scouts would come and visit me. So, there was an inkling and even an inkling of hope and a light kind of at the end of the tunnel, but I didn't know how difficult a path I had in front of me. Not many players know how difficult it is just to get a tryout, much less hang in there and play, and then perform, and then go to the Hall of Fame, I guess, to keep it the shortcut.
Well, it's been a nice run lately because it was a long gap with a lot of the players of the Cowboys decades, the era of Tom Landry, Gil Brandt, now you, Andrew Pearson. There's been a couple of others that have finally gotten in as well. Was that something that did you ever become bitter because of that?
No, I really didn't. I kind of take things as they come, and I know I expected and it looked like and perceived that there was a bias, and fewer Dallas Cowboys were going into the Hall of Fame, and you had to really fight hard to become an All-Pro, but and when Rayfield went in, he and I were up as finalists, and he made it, and he rightfully should have, Rayfield Wright, and I don't know how many years ago that was, probably 10 or something, and I've been up a couple of times in those finals, and so, but it's a dream thing that you go for. I mean, it's one thing to make the Pro Bowl, it's another thing to make the Pro. Well, it's just that distant light that you've got that's up in the sky that you think is the chance to become to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and everything worked out. Everything worked out to make that happen.
Cliff, one of the unique stats that you have in your career, you had 16 fumble recoveries. Through the 10-year career. What is the knack for being in the right place at the right time, and also the fearlessness you have to have? Because I'm sure some bad stuff happened to you on the bottom of those piles.
Yeah, well, I just think that a couple of things. One is that I anticipate things well, and that's why one of the things that is the gifts that I have, and I know what to look for and expect, and see things happen sooner. And other things, I punch the ball out many times, and other thing maybe that I don't know, but sometimes those receivers, when they saw me coming to hit them, maybe they just let the ball go.
Yeah, well, and of course, you were a missile. There's no question about it. You played the game. You played the game fearless. What do you think about all the new rules that receivers and contact and above the waist and defenseless and all that? How would that have affected you?
Oh my gosh, it would have affected me enormously, because the thing that I think that was so critical for me was to instinctively, because I knew instinctively where to hit the guy that I was tackling in the weakest spot that didn't hurt me, because, you tackle a guy, I can't say that, well, Earl Campbell, you couldn't hit him anywhere without hurting, other than that. But that there's so instinctively, where exactly to put that force. You know exactly where to put your shoulder pad and your helmet, and you know how to put your momentum and move it all. I had a major in math and minor in physics, and I knew, it must be a mechanical mindset. But, today, when you've got to be careful where you don't hit head-to-head contact, and you've got to really think about where you're going to hit the guy and try to avoid hitting him. Boy, there's no advantage, and that's where I would think I could have gotten really hurt, because I couldn't have relied on my instincts to keep me healthy and safe, and know instinctively how to tackle the guy and not hurt yourself, hurt him.
Cliff, when Tom Landry was fired and Jimmy took over, obviously that was a very crazy, no one ever saw that coming. And the Cowboys had struggled in the 2 or 3 years prior to that. What was your initial impression of Jimmy, even though he eventually had the great run and then left early? How often did you have a chance to visit with him, and when was the first time you did? Do you remember?
I was more active with the Cowboys back then, and I had a real cocky, real good coach that was so hard on us, Buddy Bob Benson, and Jimmy, and he's one of my favorite people in the world, and he's passed away today, and Jimmy reminded me of him, and I like it because I like winners, I like guys that, they can back up what they talk about, and I've liked Jimmy the whole time that I've been around him, and I think he's a great coach, and I think he relates, and I think that guys that are winners relate to guys like Jimmy,
Well, you waited too long, or you had to wait way too long, and so did Drew and even others as well. We're happy for you. I know it's still a while until you get to the induction, but
yeah,
we're looking at some of the class. We're bringing some of those guys on. It was great to have you on. We can't wait to hear your speech, and we'll give you a standing ovation as well, like your wife and family did. And good luck and enjoy it between now and then.
And by the way, some of my favorite memories as a kid growing up were my mom's side of the family would have reunions in Hot Springs Village, and I just absolutely love that place. That's awesome.
That is so cool that you can relate to and understand how special it is. It's, I'm headed up there tonight because we've got a place on Lake Ouachita, and it overlooks Lake Ouachita, and it's on the hills, and it's great. So that's really a fun place to go.
Yeah. There are some of the most beautiful golf courses inside the village as well.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Golly, I love that place. Yeah.
I've played many of them. I used to have I still have a charity golf tournament for the FCA up there in Arkansas Springs, Arkansas. The Cliff Harris. That's the Cliff Harris charity FCA charity golf tournament. People can come to. We play in the Hot Springs Village, and it was started by Coach Tom Landry. And when he passed away, because I grew up in Hot Springs, they put my name on the tournament, and we have 700 people at the banquet. Wow. So it's a great course and a great charity, and and I'm glad that I can be that I'm a part of it, and I'm glad. And it started with Tom Landry asking me to come up there and play.
That's awesome.
I did for a couple of years, and we lost him that next year, and they changed it over. So it's always great to talk with you guys, David. I enjoy your. You make it easy for me.
Hey, man, we're happy for you. And finally, it's about to be here. Enjoy the next few weeks leading up to it, Cliff. Congratulations. Love what you did, how you play. No question about it.
Thank you very much, David. I really appreciate it.
Cliff Harris, Pro Football Hall of Fame safety, with us on SicEm365 Radio. You could hear the joy in his voice, how excited he is. It's right here on the horizon. Imagine you wait so long, then it's your time, and then you have to wait again. And good for him that he gets a chance to finally give that speech. When we come back, Lyndon Held, he's the head coach at Waco High. They have their spring game. Remember, he and Kent Laster were both introduced on the same day as coaches at Waco High and University High. We had Coach Laster last week, Jeff Hume last week. We'll hear from the new coach at Ellison later today. SicEm365 Radio.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Alan Samuels is celebrating Memorial Day with the all-new Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Limited with up to $6,000 in values or 0% for 72 months. The 2021 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Limited has exceptional and efficient hybrid gas range for local driving or extended excursions. Come to the Memorial Day sales event at Alan Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer. The best place to see this amazing vehicle. Located at 201 West Loop 340, Alan Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Yeah, there's a couple of pieces of video that I have sent Armstrong. One of them is a game last night. We're not going to do it here. Lyndon Held, head coach at Waco High, is going to join us. But one of them is the Cubs and Pirates baseball game that when I saw the play, I said, that's really interesting how Pittsburgh got fooled by Chicago. And then I found out this play was with 2 outs, and it would have been an easy force play at first base. We're going to have that video. Maybe you've seen it. If you're not, if you like to see things that are really bizarre and strange, we'll have that for you. And then also last night on Chicago Fire on NBC, Derek Haas, among others that are Baylor alums in Chicago Fire, they mentioned, it's like a half a second, Baylor's men's basketball team winning the national championship. So Baylor alums were able to sneak that in for a little nugget. Lyndon Helt, the head coach at Waco High, we had him on the day he was introduced along with Kent Laster at University High. Spring game is tonight. Did you ever think you'd get to tonight? It's been a long process, but boy, you guys seem to have gotten a lot done.
Yeah, we're excited. Spring game as coaches is a good chance to evaluate kind of your first practice to your last, if you will, and give the kids an opportunity to kind of show off what they've learned and how they've progressed through spring. But saying that this is a good time and a happy time for us is kind of an understatement. We're really excited to be able to get out and show kind of how we've progressed. That's for sure.
Coach, how much did you know about your team when you got there compared to now? Like, how comfortable are you with going into the fall knowing who's at what positions and where you're going to be?
Well, there's still some of that has to be figured out as we work through the summer. That'll be a massive time. UIL's provided us with skill time to work with the kids in the summer now, and that's a little bit different. So we're going to continue that evaluation, but we know a whole lot more. When I came in, we were still in the middle of COVID. Then we had the ice storm. We had all sorts of stuff. So there were times where numbers were very low, and our coaches went into homes and called people and pulled kids out. And right now we're very happy with the number of kids and the consistency of our kids, and that's really beginning to give us some idea of what we can be and where we need to improve.
Coach, as you begin to lay the foundation for your program, what are the first kind of main steps that you take in taking over?
Well, initially we really wanted to create some energy and excitement for the kids. We instituted competition days and went and found the kids and dug them out of homes as they were kind of, COVID started to let up a little bit. And so we got in there and did some of that and that built our numbers. But then once you get that going and kids realize your personality, then you have to put some pretty strong demands on those kids to make them meet your standards. And so those were the two big things, is let them know who we are, and then obviously set high demands so we can improve in the ways we want to improve. And so,
are you there?
Oh, hold on.
Did we lost him?
Hold on. I lost the Bluetooth.
Oh, okay. We'll get Lyndon Helt back on again.
Hold on. It's back.
Okay, Lyndon, I'm sorry. You were answering part of we lost the last 10 seconds of what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that we've really been able to, ever since we put those strong demands on the kids, we've really been able to kind of see what they can handle and where we got to improve and what we got to do. But those are really, really important to us. Lyndon,
who handles, and I got to tell you this, there's no question that you're out there, you're working those who are in your school district, and it has to be done at Waco High. That's one of the things you need, is to go get players or athletes or students who have not been in football or are not a part of athletics and helping them find a way to get to practices and whatever else. But who handles your social media? Whose idea was that? Because it has been amazing.
Well, the first initial guy that really deserves a lot of that credit is Coach Ephraim, and he really plays a lot of hats here at Waco High. He's a Waco High grad, so he's a lot invested in this community and what we've been able to do here. And so he's the main guy that pumps a lot of that out. There's Coach Lewis, who's also a Waco High grad, plays a large role in that as well. And then I had a social media plan when I came in, just because I knew it was going to be difficult to reach our families because of COVID. Mm-hmm. They weren't going to be willing to necessarily engage us in their homes or at our school. And so I had to find a way to let them be introduced to me and our staff that wasn't, a threat to them or what they were afraid of from the medical standpoint. So it was a holistic movement, but Coach Ephraim, he can do some great things with the video and everything else. And so we're trying to use that to really introduce ourselves to our community.
Well, I think you did. I know it allowed me to keep up with what was going on. I drive sometimes by where you're building the new Paul Tyson Field and all that area, but that allowed me to and I thought what you did was brilliant. And the fact you had a plan to do that, I'm not just saying that to say it, but I thought no question that had an impact. How do you know what you have? Will you have an idea, as Paul was mentioning and Craig was mentioning? Do you have an idea after tonight? Will you have kind of a depth chart, or is it still too early for that?
Oh yeah. No, we'll have a strong depth chart, but you don't know fully until you really, really strap up in that first game. When there's in a scrimmage, you can still do some things. You're used to each other offensively and defensively. So, kids' reactions, especially on the defensive side of the ball, have been conditioned by the opposite side. And so we'll really know in that scrimmage against University and then into that first game what we have. But there's no doubt that we've made improvements. But the bottom line is we've got to get tougher. We've got to react better. We've got to be better on fundamentals. But that's my job, and they can be taught, and our kids are absorbing those things. So we just got to keep improving in those areas throughout the summer, and thanks to UIL, we can do that.
Yeah, the opportunity to have the opportunity to be in front of them much more than before. Can you even imagine? You mentioned you got here, COVID was still there. It was still around, and it's still kind of around in a way. But can you imagine coming in as a first-year coach at Waco High with all of the work you have to do, and there was COVID all the way through the spring and no drills?
No, and honestly, that I know some guys, some good friends that have that situation, and that's really hard on them. And there's so much on you in a new community and in a new environment, and trying to learn your kids. To add that on top, that's unprecedented. Nobody had a plan for that. Nobody. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about having to create something while you're learning all these other things. My gosh, that's a pretty tall task. That's for sure.
Coach, it's obviously a murderer's row of a district with some premier teams in it. But how did you go about looking at your non-district and putting that together?
Well, some of that was already established because we're in between realignment, and so some of that was already established. But we're excited to be able to grow in those games, and we feel like we're giving the kids long-term, stability in the things that we're trying to teach them that'll pay off no matter who we're playing. What we want to see is progressional improvement. And so we want to see our kids improve throughout spring, throughout the football season, and we really want to rely heavily on the senior class to be the foundation of that.
Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, is it? Yeah, you knew that when you came in. You knew that it was going to take some time. A tree doesn't grow overnight.
No, sir. I've said it a million times probably since I've been here. It's an oven, not a microwave, right? I mean, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen immediately. And so, we've spent massive amounts of time in our middle schools to try to grow it from the incoming freshman class. But then we've tried to build what we call stable and long-lasting things within our program, whether it be character, whether it be fundamentals, things that our kids can use that will make them good football players regardless of the situation. And that doesn't happen just overnight, but it does happen if you are diligent about it and you believe in your kids.
I don't know if you can answer this or not, but how many do you feel like might be a part of your program now that were not a part of the football program when you arrived?
Well, this is just complete transparency. When I got here, we had a really low number.
Yep.
And we went way up. I mean, we got way up in relative. And then what happened is some of those kids that were here, they couldn't meet the demands of the staff and the stuff we wanted to be done. And that's fair because we believe our kids can reach high levels. And so we have to have high demands and aim high. But with that came and brought kids out that wanted those demands. So what we had was kind of a spike and then a decrease and then a gradual grow as kids started to believe in what we were doing and how we were doing it. And so that's kind of where we're at. And we feel very comfortable. The kids that are here now, they're here. They're here every day. They're buying in slowly but surely. We're not looking for kids. We're not digging kids out of homes anymore because we've set standards that we believe are high and the kids are meeting them.
Well, good for you. Now, young men and women and athletes today, they like swag. And I know that you have to kind of go through the process. But how much does it help when they walk outside of that field house that is old And there are some facilities on Waco High campus that needed to be redone. But how much does it help? They walk out and see a new stadium being built right in front of them.
Oh, it's great, and it's great for the community. You know, alums, as much as our kids talk about it, the alums talk about how that's overdue and they've long been waiting. You know, this school has a long and proud tradition, and so that's one of the things that attracted me to this place is the long and proud tradition. And so being able to get that in, and then of course, you know, we have a prospective bond that can come out in the fall, and that's really starting to take root, and the wheels are starting to turn on that, and meetings are starting to pick up. And if that happens, we really feel like we've walked into a gold mine as a staff, and we really feel like our kids, from a mental aspect, will be able to buy in what the district's doing, what we're doing. Time is and money are the things you value, and so or you put those into the things you value. And so if you're going to put a lot of that into athletics, no kid can walk through the doors and say we don't value athletics in Waco ISD. Not if this bond comes through, not with the field. That's stuff that can't be said anymore.
Lyndon, thank you, man. You've done a lot in a short amount of time, and I know, again, it's like you said, it's an oven, not a microwave. Good luck. I've seen the growth, and I can tell, again, I do think the social media thing was a brilliant idea, and good luck with your spring game. Okay, when does it all get going? Just JV, varsity?
We got a alumni game. We got it feels like the hottest day of the year for some alumni to go out and run around on the field and try to play some 7-on-7. So we might have to give those guys some water breaks. But we got an alumni game starting at 5, and then ours kicks off at 6:30, and we're going to move through it pretty quickly so the kids can kind of show off. But we want to take care of our kids at the end of spring as we roll into the summer as well. All
right, good luck. Lyndon, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. That's Lyndon Held, head coach at Waco High, and they got a lot done. They've got a lot done, a lot of work to do, and he knows that. And I'm telling you, the social media presence, that doesn't mean you're going to win a game. That doesn't mean a young man that's not very talented at wide receiver becomes Jerry Rice. But it does allow him to have a connection to a lot. And he did it when there was a lot of problems as far as COVID and also, again, the ice storm.
You got to meet people where they live. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, and you know, not everyone, but most of the young people today, a lot of people, you have the ability on your phone to see things. And he was dialed into them. I thought they did a brilliant job with that, as well as what they did with University High, too. When we come back, when do we want to get to the Chicago Fire thing?
We can do it, and then we can do all our little. We've got some time before Art Strickland. Let's do it right at 4 o'clock. Art Strickland coming up at 4:25 from the Colonial up in Fort Worth. His thoughts about that. Craig's off the radar at 4:45. When we come back, I want to do the Pirates and Cubs game. That's going to blow your mind, and then when I tell you about the situation, it might blow your mind again. Chicago Fire gave Baylor some love. Hell, a lot of the people in that show are Baylor alums, and so much more. SicEm365 Radio.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Let
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm, welcome home.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Teague was waiting for it to develop. Wasn't there. Now challenges. Puts it up. Oh, what a shot. Just up and under Timmy.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Big 12 baseball tournament. Texas beat Oklahoma 4-1. Oklahoma is out. Texas back in it because they lost last night to West Virginia. They remain alive. Baylor lost to Kansas State. They're done. 9-4. K-State moves on. And also this yesterday, let's do the baseball one first, Armstrong. Let me set up the story here. Pittsburgh and the Cubs. And you know how it is, you see these videos on Twitter or whatever it is. And one of the things I like about Twitter is sometimes something maybe you didn't know happened. All the other stuff can kind of, just as far as I'm concerned, I don't care much about it. But this is a baseball game. These are professional teams. The Pirates are in the field. Cubs are playing. They're hitting. Now watch this play. And we might play it twice, okay? Here's the play.
Heard from here to
Sewickley. So what I didn't realize when I saw that highlight is that, the runner deked, the first baseman, who then got caught up in that. And then he lost track of the young man who was on second base who's coming around third. There were 2 outs. The hitter stopping on the base pass doesn't matter. You just all you have to do is tag him or go back to first and step on the bag, and the inning's over.
Yeah, I think we probably have more people listening than watching, and it was a crazy play.
Okay.
So what happened was Javier Baez hits a ground ball to third, and instead of just throwing him out at first base, he stops running down the first baseline and starts running back towards home, and the first baseman starts running to tag him.
Will Craig was the first baseman.
Will Craig, the first baseman, starts running to tag him. All he had to do was step on the bag, and the inning's over. Instead, he goes running towards home plate to chase the batter. And then meanwhile, this all causes a kerfluffle to where then Baez is running back towards first. So then the runner at third comes home and scores. Nobody's covering first, so he's safe at first. The run scored, and then nobody's covering second, so then he runs to second base. He gets a double on an infield ground ball. I hope that made sense. And a run scores because the first baseman tried to tag him out in the first baseline, which is just
there were 2 outs.
Insane.
Yeah, this happened this afternoon, by the way. So here's how it was scored.
I can't even imagine.
Baez grounded to fielder's choice at third. Contreras scores. Baez safe at second on throwing error by catcher Perez. And so here's the thing about it. Perez gets a throwing error because dear God, somebody's got to throw the ball to first base. Will Craig gets there's nothing. There's no.
He doesn't get an error.
There's no penalty for dumbassery.
Yeah.
It's just there's none. It's just there.
I was blown away when I saw that because I can only imagine how many people were just screaming like, just go tag first. That's all. Like, I mean, there's mental mistakes, but like that one.
That's what's great about the game of baseball. There's always something you've never seen before. But it's as if the first baseman got deked because the runner stopped. He forgot everything about fundamentals. There were 2 outs. Walk 5 feet backwards, step on first, inning is over. The runner was on second when he hit the ground ball. He was probably around third when the first baseman started playing games with the hitter. And the runner's like, well, wait a minute.
Well, and Javi Baez is kind of famous for this, of doing things like Derek Jeter did this too a lot.
Magician.
Yeah, I mean, like Derek Jeter did stuff like this to where he would do something, you get fooled, you'd be like, oh, well, Jeter knows what he's doing. Javi Baez, does this, and again, all of a sudden, Will Craig here forgets that there's 2 outs. And what I'm surprised that you see on the highlight, for those of you who will watch this on YouTube later, but when you see on the highlight, the Cubs dugout is laughing hysterically.
Yep.
Because they know what's going on.
Pittsburgh's not.
And I would think that from the Pittsburgh dugout, it's going to be like, there's 2 outs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I'm watching it again, and I just don't know what Will Craig was doing. Like, I don't know what was going through his head.
He froze. It's like, it's just he froze. He saw the hitter stop, the next thing you know.
You don't snap out of it when you're a first baseman and you're running towards home plate to tag the guy on the first baseline. You know what I mean?
Then he was just kind of lackadaisically jogging towards home. If he runs the runner all the way back home, the runner's out because he can't go back home. Right. And if he crosses home plate, he's out. It would have been such a... it was crazy.
So, and the funny thing about this is that the first time people see this video, like you didn't realize there's 2 outs.
No.
The person who posted it first didn't realize there's 2 outs. If you read on Twitter, I've had a text chain with some friends. There's always somebody that's like, well, why did you do this? He shouldn't have thrown, or, they could have gotten the runner at home or this and that. Like, no, just tag first base. There's 2 outs. And then the watch is over them like, oh, man, it's even dumber.
I mean, we're
nuts.
I don't know. I'm sure on SportsCenter tonight there will be like a top 10 dumbest baseball plays ever. I'm curious to see where this one lands. Recency bias will probably have it near the top, and it might just be near the top to begin with, because I don't know. I haven't seen a whole lot of plays dumber than this one, because this wasn't. I mean, eventually throwing errors became part of the play, but that's not why the play was dumb. The play was dumb because it was just a really dumb decision by Will Craig. So, yeah, you'll see a lot of this tonight, I'm sure, if you watch the sports shows.
It's days like today that I miss Mel Allen and This Week in Baseball, where he would do things like this. But, or they have, blooper videos where he would narrate, and it was just, oh, my gosh.
So that happened. By the way, Armstrong, can we go close to where Chicago Fire, or are we going to have to deal with the ads?
No. I just cut the audio.
Okay, so here is last night's episode of Chicago Fire. We've had Derek Haas on the show. There's 3 or 4 other Baylor alums who are a part of it, actors and also those behind the scenes. So I saw this on a thread on SicEm365 Premium maybe late last night or early this morning, and I kept wanting to find some sort of way that they mentioned the Baylor men's basketball team. It's a half a second long, but if in fact you heard about it or didn't and you hadn't seen it, here's a Baylor alum making sure Scott Drew and his men's basketball team gets some love.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like when we were watching Baylor win the national championship. I know.
All right, so what it is, it's one of the firemen. He's on the phone with somebody, walking out from inside the firehouse, and there's 2 or 3 guys at a coffee table, as they always are, a card table, outside in the big, huge garage area, and he's on the phone, and he just mentions Baylor, which is pretty darn cool. Derek Haas was on our show, of course, back during the fall.
Here's what I was alerted to this, but Chad Conine from the Waco Trip texted me about this today and says, this feels shoehorned into you. And I said, yeah, it probably does a little bit. But then you start thinking about it. Look, it's the season finale and the way that they shoot these things. So they probably shot it right after Baylor won, a month ago to air, or a month and a half ago to air now. So he probably had very limited time to get any reference in, because if he waits until the season premiere next year, based on whatever that may be, because sometimes it's in the fall, sometimes they hold things to mid-season. So he had to get it in so it was still relevant. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that they got it in somehow, especially knowing how many different – he said he's got a list of Baylor names he hasn't even gotten to as characters on the show yet.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it was shoehorned in, but it doesn't really matter because Derek Haas got what he wanted, and he got Baylor mentioned on a national TV program. And as an alma mater, that's got to be, or as an alum, that's got to be a very cool thing for Derek to be able to do. So yeah, squeeze it in however you can, but he got it in there, and that's awesome.
As you mentioned, it's the final episode. It's still timely. It's only been 6 or 7 weeks since they won it all on April the 5th of earlier this spring. So okay, those are a couple of pieces of video. Now, earlier this week, and Craig, I don't remember what day, it might have been during your Off the Radar, or we were discussing the PGA Championship with Mickelson and how everyone surrounded he and Koepka. Of course, it got a little out of control. But you made a comment. Do you remember what you said about fans?
Yeah, I said that all that last weekend showed me was that fans are way more important to sports than they're given credit for. And we prop up these athletes; they get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm not complaining about athlete pay or anything like that. But we prop these guys up. We make them basically, these walking gods and all that. But they're nothing without the fans. They're just really talented people without the fans. They're stars because of the fans. They sell jerseys because of the fans. They sell tickets because of the fans. They have the contracts they do because of the fans. The TV partners spend all that money because who's watching? The fans. So all this entire pandemic has showed me, and especially with the return of people, the golf tournament last Saturday, NBA playoffs is, y'all go gaga over LeBron or Russell Westbrook or Javi Baez or Tom Brady or whoever the heck. They're all incredibly talented individuals that can do things a lot of us can't do, but they are not nearly what they are proposed to be without the people that are in the stands rooting and watching and buying the jerseys. So, yeah, the fans matter more than I think they've ever been given credit for. I think that's obvious in watching sports right now.
Last night on TNT, which is an incredible show with Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Shaq, and Charles Barkley. And to me, Barkley's the one that makes it, but Ernie Johnson's great, Kenny Smith's great, and Shaq. Charles Barkley is exact quote. This is right after the Knicks fans celebrated their first home playoff win since 2013 in New York. This is all about the fans. It is so great to have the fans back. It reminded me of what you brought up earlier during the week, and he is so right. Now, the Clippers didn't have as many fans. Of course, California is a little bit different still to this day. The Mavericks are going to have 16,000 plus slammed, crammed, and enjoying the moment inside the American Airlines Center. We saw the scene around 18 Fairway and Green with Phil Mickelson in the PGA Championship. It is nice to hear the roar of the crowd that's not some fake piped-in thing. Got to the point where it was so obvious. I love it. I love the fact the fans are there. And then that also brings the idiots.
Always some idiots.
A fan who dumped popcorn on Russell Westbrook has been banned indefinitely from the Wells Fargo Center, has had his Philadelphia 76ers season ticket membership revoked.
Yeah, this was stupid. Russell Westbrook gets hurt, and he's going to the locker room, and, they caught it on camera. You're able to see, it was weird because there was a top to the entranceway, but then there must have been a gap before you actually get into the tunnel. So, he's going under the covering, but then wherever that gap must have been is right where the fans are, that barricade. And, yeah, somebody who they didn't catch on camera in the view that I saw dumps popcorn on him, and he, rightfully so, absolutely lost it. He was having to be restrained by security. He was, along with other people trying to point out who the fan was, and I'm glad that they found out who it was. But I'm with a lot of other people, and I know LeBron James, calling for certain things doesn't always go very well, but he did call for them to name who this person was, and I'm actually for that. I do think there are some people who act like idiots who need to be publicly embarrassed to have some sort of measure of punishment, and not just he'll be banned from the arena for the rest of his life and we'll never know who he is. No, that idiot needs to be put out there, in my opinion. Not for death threats and things like that, but there's got to be some type of
consequence.
Yeah.
And LeBron's point was, look, if the shoe's on the other foot, if it was the player, okay, Ron Artest for the rest of his life,
Palace, yes,
it will never get past that. No matter how many good things he's done, a lot of good things since then, since he's actually kind of gotten his life in order. But Ron Artest will never get past that. Dennis Rodman's been weird since the time he kicked the cameraman, but everybody knows that they did it, so there's not this kind of veil of anonymity of dumping popcorn and leaving. Yeah, absolutely. And look, there was a guy, a Knicks fan last night who spit, and you're about to bring this up, who then said, popcorn, I see your popcorn and raise you this.
New York Knicks have said they have banned a fan who spit on guard Trae Young of the Hawks. They released a statement about this one as well. The second fan-related incident on Wednesday, one in Philadelphia and one at Madison Square Garden. And you're right. If a player had done that, we would lose our minds. And, of course, that player would have to face all sorts of things in return.
Well, I saw that Rodman kick of the cameraman probably 1 billion times by now. I've seen the Malice in the Palace 1 billion times by now. I've not seen the face of this guy who dumped popcorn or the guy who spit. And so there is a double standard there. And, again, I'm not encouraging, because there will be those extremists who, someone's identity is known and then there's death threats and things like that. That's not helping matters, and you're just being another part of the problem. But there should be some measure of accountability. And the NBA today came out with like an enhanced fan code of conduct because these incidents are starting to happen with regularity. But like, I just don't know what goes through a person's head. The spitting guy especially. Like, dude, what the hell?
Isn't that one of the most demeaning things you could ever do to another person? In my opinion.
Yes, it absolutely is. Yeah. And especially now, especially in this era where people are so paranoid, it's like even worse. It's like, you could be charged with, it's like a weapon, your spit. So that's just gross and disgusting, and I almost wish they'd line that guy up and let Trae Young, get a big fat loogie going. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I just don't know what people are thinking sometimes. I just don't get it.
A big fat loogie. Yeah,
well, I mean
like a big oyster comes flopping.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't want to. Yeah,
but no, you're right though. I'm telling you, by the end of the day, if not already, because I haven't watched any TV today, they will have pictures.
Let me ask you this:
of these people.
If Trae Young turned around and, like, let's say a guy said something to him or whatever, and he spit at a fan, do you know what would be like? The world would melt down. If Russell Westbrook went and grabbed the thing of popcorn out of somebody's hands in the front row and dumped it on that person, people would be freaking losing their minds.
I might have laughed at that one, but
I'd laugh, but then we would lose our minds. And so this is that's no different. And those guys, the backlash would be, so it should be the same for the fans.
And the spilling of popcorn, I think it's probably not even like, I think I've seen the people who have kind of defended, like, oh, it's just popcorn. Like, yeah, but what could it be?
Yeah, it could have been something else.
What could it be?
You know who right now?
What if he went to the concession stand and got some hot coffee?
You know what? So I'm just going to walk up and just pour spaghetti noodles on your head. Who cares? Just spaghetti noodles.
Yeah. Are they already, what is the word? What's the word when they're about done? What's that term when a spaghetti noodle's about done? Al dente? Al dente. All right, so here's the thing. Philadelphia Eagles fans are going, what's the problem here?
Philadelphia Eagles fans, also one of them ate real horse poop in celebration of their Super Bowl victory, so they're not really the fan base.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Well, it overlaps.
It's like the 76ers. The 80s NBA players are looking at a hard foul now going, what?
And now that is one guy I do want identified. I want to know who that person was that ate the horse poop, because that was like the most
that is it. That
insane thing I've ever seen.
But I mean, it's look, the 76ers, like, again, like you said, the rest of the Philly fans are like, well, it's just popcorn. We chucked batteries and rocks at Santa Claus.
We packed batteries around in ice.
Yeah, throw it at Jimmy Johnson.
If you're in any way like excusing what happened with either of those guys, I don't care if it was just this or just that. You don't need to be throwing anything other than the baseball back from the back into the field of play after a home run's hit in certain places. That's all you need to be throwing back. You don't need to be throwing anything else anywhere near the field ever.
Do you remember when J.D. Drew signed with the Cardinals after getting drafted by the Phillies, and he couldn't come to an agreement, so he went and played independent league ball and signed with the Cardinals?
He's supposed to be the greatest baseball player of all time.
Yeah, he's in right field, and the Phillies fans start chucking 9-volt batteries and D batteries at him. And I mean that shook him up. I mean, he thought like oh my gosh.
They threw him in snowballs, so that you thought a snowball was coming at you, and there was actually a battery. Like that was happening a few years ago at the Eagles games. I remember that vividly. But that was just stupidity on the part of both of these people. So they've rightfully gotten their bans, I'm sure, from those arenas for life, rightfully so, and. Just no need for it. Kind of ruining, fun times and good moments, but I guess making it more interesting at the same time.
Jordan Spieth is at the top of the leaderboard at the Colonial. We'll hear from Mark Strickland in a moment, but I got to tell you a snake story. So yesterday morning, as I'm about to leave my condo, I hear these birds out front on the front walkway just chirping away. You know, it'd been raining forever, beautiful morning, sunshine, everything. And this one, I mean, it's just more than normal. So I just thought maybe they had a pack of birds. I walk out onto the front door, right there on that silver strip that we have here that always leaks. And there's a bird on the silver strip, the metal strip, and it's just going nuts. And I look out front, and I got about a walkway that, Paul, what do you think, right about 12 to 15 feet, and then it turns left to go up to the stairwell. There's a black snake sitting there on the walkway, just kind of chilling, not worried about me, but it's moving away slowly away from the front entrance to the condo. That snake had cornered the bird at the door. And the other birds that were sitting on this cover that I have for a grill were trying to be cheerleaders on how the young bird should get away. By me opening up the door when I did, I interrupted snake's breakfast. It was about, I'm going to say 2.5 to 3 feet long. It was black. So then last night, as I'm taking clothes to the car that I do the night before, whatever I'm wearing, slacks, shorts, shirt, I picked up a flashlight for whatever reason. You know, and it's dark, and I'm walking towards the car, around towards where the mailboxes are, and I walked this direction for 8 consecutive years. It's nighttime. I have a flashlight, and there, as I would normally turn right from the mailboxes, was a big, long, nasty, colorful snake. Sell? Burn? What do I do? And I'm telling you, this was a monster. And
remember red on yellow, kill a fellow. That's all you need.
Well, it wasn't a coral snake because it was probably too big. Coral snakes don't get too big, do they? No, they can get, I guess, fairly.
They can get okay size.
And I don't think it was a copperhead, which has the coloring of what we know what that is. This was like, I don't know, it was either a corn snake, a rat snake, or it should be a dead snake. I went back to the front porch to get the shovel that I got the last time. The snake got away. This was a different one. The shovel was gone. I had laid it on the back porch for some reason, and I had to go all the way to the back porch.
The first thing you said when the shovel was gone, I thought the snakes were plotting
against me. Well, I'm thinking the snakes were plotting against me. One of them wrapped it up, took it, hauled it up.
I've often
thought, 2 in one day.
I've often thought the birds were plotting against me, so I get it. I get it. I'm just saying.
The birds would have been bothering you, was chirping out front. That would have you wouldn't have cared about the snake.
Yeah, I can handle about
2 of them.
3 to 8 birds sporadically throughout an area, but like in the fall, like we were at the radio station one time, and like we walked out, and they had just descended in our parking lot.
It was the movie The Raven.
It was the birds. It was Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah,
and I thought about like how long do I have to stay here before I go home?
Couldn't get out of the
because I couldn't get I had to walk slowly through them. I opened the door, and they were on my car. I mean, and I
up on the wires,
on the thing, and they didn't. Like, when I was driving, they didn't even move out of the way when I accelerated. They're like, we're not afraid of you.
So if you're at the zoo, do you just go straight past the bird exhibits? Or?
I have skipped the aviary. Like, sometimes you can go in the aviary.
Yeah.
And, like, the birds will fly around you. And I'll be like, you know what? I got to go to the bathroom.
If you
guys want lemonades, I'll be on the other side.
Oh, you may go to the bathroom.
I'll buy you all $12 lemonades in a cup the shape of a giraffe. Just please.
If we opened up the front door and about 300 birds came flying into the studio, it would be the greatest live YouTube moment of all time.
Want me to go see?
Yeah.
Go prop it
when
over.
we come back, Art Strickland on the Colonial. Jordan Spieth off to a great start. Mickelson didn't play well, and he doesn't care. He's the PGA champion.
So snakes and birds, and I don't have one. I don't think I have a big fear like that with an animal.
Bats?
No. I guess
we were in Colorado one time on a vacation, and we had opened the windows up because it was so pretty, and a bat comes flying through there and taunts us for about 20 minutes.
I dealt with bats in Costa Rica. They're ugly little creatures.
Yeah, no, they're nasty. I'm just not totally terrified. Yeah. But yeah, anyways,
ants.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
I'd say because
there's so many.
If I had to pick some, it'd probably be spiders, just because those things are just.
Well,
disgusting.
remember I had the tarantula. This is the same place, or on the stairwell one day there was a tarantula, and I went to go step on it. It sounded like a coconut.
That would flip me out. That would flip me out probably. See a tarantula sitting there, I would.
I saw it, and I didn't know what it was, and I went back. I got the flashlight. I looked at it. It had not moved. It was not scared of me. It was the size of my fist. So then I kind of brushed it off the top of the stairwell and stepped on it, and it went like that.
Gross. Yeah, those are big.
What if it had a bunch of babies in it?
Well, then that's always the fear in stepping on a spider, and that's part of the reason it kind of does freak me out. I guess what I'm saying, that they do freak me out because they're so small and all that, but we do have to go. But yeah, that's part of the worry when you step on a spider.
Brown recluse is little, and
yeah.
I want $1.5 million for the condo.
Hold on,
yeah.
Emma's getting spooked.
The brown recluse thing, that got her.
The tarantula got her.
Oh, the tarantula. We finally got an emotion out of you that's dead. All right, Art Strickland from Fort Worth on the Colonial, and then also Craig Smoak's Off the Radar 4 o'clock hour continues. SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got great deals going on right now. Memorial Day savings event. You can save big on new and pre-owned vehicles with the Memorial Day savings event at Richard Carr Motors. You can get back on the road with some sophistication and some luxury. Get a Buick. Richard Carr is loaded with Buick SUVs, all priced to move. Right now, save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encores. Save $4,500 on Encore GXs. Save $3,900 on midsize Buick Envisions. You can also get the space, luxury, and affordability of the Buick Enclave, the perfect family travel vehicle this summer. 3 rows of first-class seating and a smooth, quiet ride. Right now, save $8,500 on all 2021 Buick Enclaves in stock. And Richard Carr is also loaded, as I mentioned previously, with those premium pre-owned cars and trucks. All pre-owns, both cars and trucks are priced to move during the Memorial Day savings event, with multiple cars priced under $200 a month for qualified buyers. Richard Carr Motors is your local Waco family dealer. They take pride in serving their neighbors and want to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes, and superior service after the sale. So come by their clean and disinfected showroom to take a test drive, or let them bring the test drive to you. It's the Memorial Day savings event going on all month at Richard Carr.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store. With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
2 weeks ago, the Byron Nelson up in McKinney, and then, of course, this past weekend at Kiowa Island, Phil Mickelson in the PGA Championship. What a moment that was. And Jordan Spieth now atop the leaderboard at the Colonial up in Fort Worth, the Charles Schwab Challenge, 63 to open up the tournament at 7 under par. We're joined by Art Strickland, PGA Tour columnist, and also golf course journey trips host as well. Art, Jordan Spieth said a couple of weeks ago when he was at the Nelson, he had not played really. His best round there was when he was 16 years old. And I know that he kind of got himself a little bit in contention, but what's his history? I don't know what his history is at the Colonial. Is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's really good. He won here 3 years ago, Smokey. So, shot low round. Today was his career low of 63. Shot 64 the year he won. I believe that was 2018. But 63 today, he said afterwards, I know how to play this course. I know what to do. And it's just a matter of going to do it. So, very positive for Spieth. It was interesting that going into the PGA last week, he was one of the favorites to win the PGA. Phil obviously was not 201 odds. Phil wins the PGA. Jordan doesn't win and disappointed, and now they play together, and Jordan wins this time. So maybe a little revenge on his mind.
Are you surprised that given a week after a major, the field is as deep as it is at the Colonial?
Well, I just think that speaks to the course. So, this is the only course other than Augusta National that's held the same place every year. 75 years straight it's been held here at Corn Country Club. So a classic design, Terry Maxwell, a lot of shape shots, a lot of trees. So I think that's what, players like to play the classic golf courses, the Rivieras, Los Angeles, the Colonials, the Hilton Head. Something it's no cookie cutter. Let's put it that way. It's a classic design, and they just signed a contract with Gil Hanse to restore it back to the 1930s. So really a great venue this week, and that's why you see such a great field. Well, you mentioned that a couple of weeks ago when you were on with us that they were going to probably do that at the Colonial as far at the course in Fort Worth. Mickelson, he doesn't. Not that he doesn't care. I'm not going to say that, but I love his reaction when they asked him. He shot 3 over today. He didn't have a birdie but one birdie, and he said, "Yeah, but on the PGA champion." You just think that's just so much. It's just overwhelmed from the weekend. Yeah, I think so. And credit to him. A lot of times we don't give players credit for being decent human beings. I don't think we see him as just golfers, but he had every excuse in the world to back out this week, to drop out of this commit, to withdraw. As you know, players can withdraw at any time. Once they commit, they can withdraw at any time, and he never did that. So credit for him for coming, showing up, playing the Pro-Am yesterday. The man, Charles Schwab, here, and played today. And, a lot of huge calories. So credit for Phil showing up when he certainly didn't have to this year.
Yeah, he seems to be very relaxed, Art. I mean, I was, shot 3 over, but I won the PGA, so I don't care. I mean,
I didn't putt well, but I won the PGA. So,
well, it is a tight course. It's one that you can't. It doesn't seem to be a bomber's course, but can a bomber win there? Definitely I'm not. Sure they have, but is that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's the reason. Tiger played here one time, didn't play well, finished third, got beat by San Antonio Open. And so, he never came back. Bryson is not here this week. Dustin's not here this week. Sports is not here this week. So the Bombers stay away from the sports because it is such a placement course. And Ben Hogan had the great quote, who won here 5 times. Ben Hogan said, the straight ball at Colonial will get you in more trouble than any course I know. Because you better be able to work your shot and shape your shot and be able to go left to right, right to left, and around the tree, or you're not going to have much success here at all.
Talking to Art Strickland, PGA Tour columnist. He also, if you ever want to contact him, he will take you and does host trips to some of the beautiful courses around the world as well. You mentioned that Bryson and Brooks Koepka aren't there. They're probably out at some resort, right, holding hands on the back porch, smoking a cigar?
What a kumbaya.
Yeah.
I told the guys here, I said, why don't we just invite them to the media center at the same time, and then they could just duke it out and settle this once and for all. But, this seems to me a little third-grade-ish, a little, little tit for tat. But, hey, anything to draw attention to golf, I'm for. And if more people are going to pay attention to golf as they see this, then, so much the better, I guess. But, it's they'll both be at the U.S. Open. They'll both be on it. I haven't seen the list. Maybe they'll be at Memorial next week. But, tit for tat. But, the best explanation I've heard of this is that Dustin was the cool guy, in school. And, Brayson's the geek. And then he works all summer long to buff up his body. And he comes back to school. Now he's the cool guy. So I think that's kind of where they are. Two cool guys circling their turf.
All right, one question about Jimmy Walker. He made the cut last week, I believe, at Kiawah Island. Didn't play all that well for the weekend. He's 2 over today through 12. You think we're going to ever see him back to the not so much where he was when he won a major and was number 1 in the world, but is he ever going to be able to get that edge back?
Good question, Smokey. I don't know the answer to that. As you know, but it's a mental game out here. It's not physical. A lot of it's mental. And I just don't know, if he has that really hard-edged mental edge. He lives in a beautiful house overlooking the mountains, the Cordillera Ranch in Bernie. And he's got a great wife, kids, golf. I just don't know if you're ever going to see that hard-edged mental. Now, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just, that's a lot to ask when you throw in the medical problems on top of that.
Yep. Thank you, Art. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the weekend in Fort Worth at the Charles Schwab Challenge. Jordan Spieth, 7 under. Sergio Garcia is 6 under and still has 5 holes to play, so who knows, maybe.
Did you say Jordan Spieth?
Yeah.
Boo!
Yeah. Armstrong.
Boo!
I'm surprised you didn't get up and salute. Sergio Garcia is on through 13, 6 under, so he might be able to get to the lead. Eric Compton, Adam Hadwin are both 4 under par in the clubhouse. And, there are some pretty good names. Patrick Reed's 2 under, done for the day. Justin Rose, Daniel Berger, and a handful of others. But Mickelson today had a couple of birdies and shot 3 over par, and he doesn't care.
So
he's relaxed.
I'm in agreement with Art, and I kind of said this probably more extreme than I intended to yesterday, just about because I think I used the word bullying, and that's not really what it was, but he's talked like kind of the immature tit for tat going on, and I've kind of started to feel that way about the whole Koepka DeChambeau thing. Like, it's entertaining and it's fun, but it's also kind of like, by the second day, I was just sort of over it at that point. But does it make you guys want to watch that big showdown all that much more?
Not really.
Tom Brady and the whole mix of,
Not particularly.
Aaron Rodgers.
It does make me curious for the Ryder Cup, and that, if it was, honestly, if you had this kind of thing going on at, a high school athletic team, when you went away to the Ryder Cup, like they'd be in Wisconsin at the Ryder Cup camp, or this same kind of thing, and the coach would be like, all right, Brooks, Bryson, you guys are sharing a room. You're going to eat every meal together. You're going to play every round together. You're going to do all this stuff until we get this worked out. But Steve Stricker can't do that. So
here's the difference. Mickelson and Tiger didn't always like each other, and they surely wanted to beat the hell out of each other, and Tiger won most of the time. But they didn't like each other. It was a different ages, They tried to pair them in a Ryder Cup. It was a disaster. But it's not as if you ever took swipes at each other publicly.
The only
there
thing
might
Phil
be a dig
ever,
on occasion, but not like
the
this.
The only thing Phil ever did that I remember was he talked about Tiger's equipment. His like that he didn't thought the Nike equipment wasn't very good, and that was
trying to get in his head.
That was just trying to get in his head, and it's also probably trying to do something for Phil to make a little money. Like, hey, look what I just did for you. I took a shot, and because Phil's very shrewd when it comes to that kind of a thing. So it was never that. Tiger himself would never, ever give anybody the opportunity to let them know they bothered him.
But when it was time to shove something right back down somebody's throat in a post-tournament press conference, he absolutely would make sure he got a zinger in. He would. He would come back with it.
He would never like
that one guy. What was it? I forgot his name. It said something about him, and he goes out and drills him like 9-8 in a match play.
Yeah.
It's not Bird, but it was someone like that. When we come back, Craig Smoak's off the radar. This is SicEm365 Radio. Marco's Pizza, hiring right now. Inside store help and or drivers and management. 16 years or older if you want to work inside, and management and drivers 18 years or older. And if you call them, locations in Belmead, Woodway, and China Spring, and give them a name of a potential hire, and that particular person, boy or girl, works 100-plus hours at the store, then you're going to get a $100 gift card from Marco's Pizza. That's pretty darn good. We order Marco's Pizza in the studio on occasion. Marco's Pizza right now, and in fact, I looked at some of the specials they have, and I'll tell you what they are. For example, they have a free $5 gift card on every 50 cents spent on e-gift cards. Let's see, unlimited medium one-topping pizza, $6.99 each. They got some sort of a delicious pizza bowl for $7.99. And, of course, they have what my favorite pizza is, thin crust, Chicago cut, and also all meat. It's Marco's Pizza. Contact them right now on any of the 3 locations in Waco, Woodway, China Spring, and Belmead. And if someone's hired that you recommend and they work 100-plus hours, you get a $100 gift card at marcos.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available, touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool, upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts, and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
Welcome back in SicEm365 Radio. And taking a look at some stories that just kind of around the sports world over the last couple of days, things that we might not perhaps spend too much time on outside of this segment. A quick Big 12 baseball tournament update. TCU and Texas Tech, they're scheduled to play. They will now play tomorrow due to severe weather threats and tornado warnings in the area. So that was supposed to be tonight. So Big 12 baseball fans, TCU and Tech has been postponed. But I did earlier, we did kind of sort of touch on the college football schedule releases. We mentioned Baylor's, non-conference games that have been announced, or 2 non-conference, and the Kansas game that were announced kickoff time-wise. And I said in passing, it's just funny that Oklahoma in particular seems to be a school that gets stuck with a lot of 11 a.m. kickoffs. And that 11 a.m. kickoff trend continued with their schedule release today. And one of those games that will be kicking off at 11 a.m. is their non-conference matchup against Nebraska. Now, for fans of the last 5 to 10 years of college football, maybe Oklahoma-Nebraska doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but to fans of college football for more than the last blink of an eye, it is a rivalry that matters. And Joe Castiglione, Sooners AD, is pissed about the 11 a.m. kickoff time for Oklahoma and Nebraska, which also, mind you, is the 50th anniversary of Oklahoma and Nebraska, which is why this is bigger than just a simple Oklahoma-Nebraska matchup. It's the 50th anniversary of what people call the game of the century, the greatest game ever played. But this 50-year anniversary is going to be played at 11 a.m. He said, "We are bitterly disappointed. The great Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry on the 50th anniversary of the game of the century will kick off at 11. We tried every possible avenue to proactively make our case. The Big 12 Conference also supported our strenuous efforts to secure a more traditional time that would honor this game and our fans. However, in the end, our TV partner chose to exercise its full contractual rights and denied our requests." So that's why Oklahoma and Nebraska 50th anniversary of the game of the century is going to be an 11 a.m. kickoff, is because the TV partners wanted it at 11 a.m.
I wish they'd play about 3 o'clock in the morning, because that could get really ugly. That, honestly, I love this series. Some of my greatest moments watching college football is watching Oklahoma, Nebraska, even some of the heartbreaks. But golly, yeah.
I mean, do you have any thoughts on the game of the century, 50-year anniversary of it?
No, when I heard that they're going to reestablish the series, I was thrilled. It took a while because of the Big 12 screwing that up. That's not the only thing they screwed up, but screwing up the series in itself. Because when the Big 12 was formed, let's not forget that the 2 biggest rivals that Texas had, Oklahoma and A&M, were going to be in the same division. So there was no loss of any kind of a big rivalry. Nebraska loses Oklahoma on occasion. And again, we know that they then gutted out and then went to the Big Ten, and they no longer are relevant. But absolutely, the 50th anniversary of what, and I know we've had other games that we thought of, the 1971 first, second, and third ranked teams at the end of the year were all Oklahoma. It was Nebraska, Oklahoma, Colorado in the same conference. Now, we think about the SEC today as how dominant they are, They finished first, second, and third. The only loss for Oklahoma was Nebraska. The only loss for Colorado was Nebraska and Oklahoma. 50 years later, they deserve a primetime game, even if it's 50-10.
You know what I think about now when I think about Nebraska, Oklahoma, instead of the great games that they had, is that decision to not let them play every year was probably the first indication that the Big 12 had no idea what they were doing for a long time.
Yep.
And, because then, like, if you look around other conferences, that's part of the problem. And it happens not just the Big 12, but a lot of places. Because the Big 12 is really bad about, they would make a decision, and then when somebody would question it, be like, well, how are we supposed to do it? And they're like, well, the ACC does it, the SEC does it, the Pac-12 does it.
Let me tell you something. Had Oklahoma been placed in the North Division, had that happened, there is no way in hell that series would not have continued with Texas.
Oh,
exactly,
yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
For
so,
sure.
and
it made sense they were in the South. Don't get me wrong.
No, but so again, but the decision is, look, you can make it to where the rivals play every year. I mean, Alabama and Tennessee play every year, right? That's a rivalry.
Yeah, no.
Auburn and Georgia play every year. That's a rivalry.
Yeah.
They're in different sides of the conference. And you can say, look, this is the rivalry game, and then we'll rotate through the other ones, because no one else, like this whole idea of, well, we'll make it even so that these teams only play every couple years or, whatever, and everybody's the same. No fans are going to be upset in the SEC West that Vanderbilt comes up once every 8 years. No one gives a crap.
I know.
No one is sitting in Tuscaloosa going, oh, you took away the Vandy rival. No one cares, and subsequently, nobody in Vandy is crying that they don't play LSU. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, that's good. 50 years. They started playing. I just put up the series, and Oklahoma has like a 5-game, 7-8 game lead on it. Started in 1912. And they played not every year, but from 19, probably in the mid-20s, late 20s, they played pretty much every single year, even during a world war.
Yep, but not
when they opened up the Big 12 after a couple of years.
Yeah, they figured out a way to do it during
a war.
World War II.
Yeah,
but not just during peacetime when none of the players are getting drafted.
Yeah, well, the lost Dawes did a lot of good for the Big 12. Everybody wanted to exit, so now you lost A&M in the Texas rivalry. You lost Nebraska, Oklahoma. Intentionally, you did that. There was a lot of influence back then, and I know Texas fans will bring up Nebraska's walk-on program and things like that, but they neutered
the same one that Darryl Royal used.
They neutered. And really very political move by UT back then. And that's part of why they are who they are. All right, the schedules mentioned in those, full bowl lineup back this year. And 2 games that were supposed to start as new bowl games, because we need those, last year, will also be making their introductions. 44 bowl games scheduled for 21-22. They'll begin on December 17th with the Bahamas Bowl. And there will be a Cure Bowl in Orlando later in the day. The 2 new games that are set to be played after not being able to make their debuts last year. The LA Bowl at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. So basically a game put together just to fill that stadium that they just built and try to get some money back, I'm sure, because I don't know what the pull is outside of that other than the stadium. And also the Fenway Bowl in Boston, which will be on December the 29th. That'll be a cold one. December the 29th at Fenway. Those will be 2 new bowl games. That LA Bowl will be the Mountain West and Pac-12. Fenway Bowl will match the ACC and AAC. Okay. And the National Championship on January 10th in Indy.
Think about this. 44 bowl games?
Yeah.
So that doesn't include the playoffs, or does it? Yeah, I guess it does. There's like 115 Division I programs. That's 78% of teams in the FBS who have a bowl game to attend. Before the season starts, 8 out of every 10 teams are going to make a bowl. So that's why you accept those 5 and 7s. And a couple of them have, because it was at the time a pretty good thing to do.
That Fenway Bowl could be Houston versus
Bowling Green.
But no, I mean it's AAC and AAC. So you're talking about it could be Houston versus North Carolina State
in Boston.
In Boston on December 29th, and all these people walking around going to Fenway Park, and people around Fenway going, "Guy, it's gonna be cold out there, man. You don't want to go to that college football game."
You think?
Nuts.
You think Tulsa Wake Forest would be a big draw? You think it'd get big ticket
it's not
sales?
like it's a new neutral field in Florida or in California or Arizona or Hawaii.
Boston's a wonderfully fun city to go to 9 months of the year, but December, January, and February are not those months.
No, I'd pick the LA Bowl out of the two new ones, that's for sure. I'll bring that up in a second. Tiger Woods talked a little bit about his comeback trail, and he says his rehab is more painful than anything he's ever experienced. After that February rollover crash, he's had a lot of rehab, and he said, I understand more of the rehab process is because of my past injuries, but this was more painful than anything I have ever experienced. Of course, he had multiple fractures to both bones in his lower right leg. He says that he's keeping busy with physical therapy and does his routines every day, and that his number one goal right now is walking on my own, taking it one step at a time. So there's Tiger Woods.
I saw a picture of him. He's on crutches. He's got the big, long, heavy knee brace from about I'd say the middle of the femur all the way down near the ankle. I thought that he looked good. I mean, I was, his left legs a little bit, but I thought he'd have it on both legs. I thought he'd be in a wheelchair. So good for him for the fact that he's come out. First time we've really heard much from him other than a statement or two.
Yeah, we haven't heard much at all. And obviously, rightfully so, he's been dealing with quite a bit. Do you want to mention this or do you want me to mention this
go
here?
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan has spoken out on the strikeout trend in Major League Baseball.
Nolan Ryan, the all-time strikeout king.
He is sick of strikeouts. Nolan Ryan is not a fan of all the strikeouts. This was mentioned by him right after Corey Kluber, who's now injured, mind you, after no-hitting the Rangers a week ago. He's now out, Corey Kluber. But he no-hit the Rangers, and there was a second no-hitter that had occurred in less than 24 days. It was also the sixth no-hitter that has already occurred before the All-Star break. And Nolan Ryan basically said that he doesn't like really watching the game today. He said it's worrisome. The all-time MLB strikeout leader, he said, it's turned me off to the game. The number of Ks, the number of strikeouts, it makes mention in the article that the strikeout record will be broken once again this year. And he said it's worrisome. It turns me off to the game. Said that he's just not a fan of the style of baseball. And if Nolan Ryan's not a fan of all the strikeouts, then it makes you wonder, who actually is.
Nolan Ryan saying he's not a fan of strikeouts is like hearing that Colonel Sanders is fed up with fried chicken.
With chicken, yeah.
I mean, it's just, you can't.
That's your stand-up comedy part right there. You're right.
It's true, though. I mean, it shows you that the guy that was his game was strikeouts. But also, I think there's a lot of thought from older players is you just have to earn it. Yeah. And now it's not, Jason Jennings made a great point in the show yesterday. He said, in his era, you hated striking out. Now guys are like, well, I struck out. All right. The strike out and a ground out, two different things. There's nobody breaking their bat over the leg like Bo Jackson anymore because they struck out. They treat it just like a ground out. Man, I want to make contact.
Well, he's not the only one. Reggie Jackson, Don Mattingly, they've also come out. Mattingly, of course, the Marlins manager, but I didn't have Nolan's whole quote in front of me. It's worrisome. It has turned me off to the game. It used to be the ultimate embarrassment to walk back to the dugout and rack your own helmet, but it's not like that today. When I got 2 strikes on a hitter, he didn't want to strike out against me because at least he felt like he accomplished something. And then Mattingly kind of backed that up, or Reggie Jackson, I should say, basically right in line with what Nolan said. It's embarrassing. I struck out more times than anyone in the history of the game, almost 2,600 times, but I did it over 20 years. That's 125 strikeouts per year. A leadoff guy today strikes out 125 times. It's not productive. The game has changed so much, and for the worse. And, this just continued on. Don Mattingly said it's great for your team when your guy throws a no-no, but when there's so many early strikeouts at an all-time high, it tells you there's some issues in the game that need to be addressed. We're at a point where it's getting so much attention because it's just a game that sometimes is unwatchable. Guys you talk to, they don't even like watching games because there's nothing that goes on in them. So there's Mattingly, Reggie Jackson, and Nolan Ryan on the strikeout plague in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it is. It's either I watch a little bit, but it is, you look at there's 8, 9, 10 strikeouts, and every other, there's very rarely do you see a 2-run single, for a guy who hits a line drive to left field.
Yeah, I was watching
from the opposite side of the plate.
I was watching the Red Sox last night, and they had a big inning in which they didn't hit a home run, and I was very entertained by it.
Like, wow, baseball.
Station to station. I was very entertained by it.
I still go back. The last team, not Tampa Bay now, they've done a good job, but the last team to win a World Series with what you would consider a team that manufactured run, would it be Kansas City? Did the Astros manufacture runs? Were they mainly home runs? Did the Dodgers manufacture runs? Were they mainly power hitters?
They have
Not
power
that they
hitters,
don't have run-producing on-base guys, but
yeah, I mean that's what Cody Bellinger did well, was all of a sudden get a lot of pop, but then that helped. Max Muncy, look, right now he's hitting for average, but last year he wasn't hitting for average, he was hitting for power.
Yeah,
so
Armstrong,
it's
did you get that email I sent you? The picture of Tiger, is it even there? You could put it up on the show or not? It may not have it. It may not be a very good picture because it's kind of a picture of a picture. It's Instagram, and I don't have that. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, there you go.
That's a big old cast.
Yeah, there's the right foot. We know that that's a mess. I don't know if it's Alex Smith mess, but it's a mess. But the left leg is thin. He hadn't been able to work on it much, but we heard bad things about the left leg too. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, dog's best friend.
Yep. So,
man's best friend.
Tiger is just going through the rehab process. Baseball legends are bored watching today's game. And if no one says it, by God, and he's talking about strikeouts being boring, then there's an issue. Paul sent this along. We've talked about sports cards and their values these days. Seems like every week there's a new sports card record getting broken, and that was the case today as well. A Wayne Gretzky rookie card has sold for $3.75 million in a private sale. It was graded at Gem Mint 10, which means it's flawless, it's perfect, and obviously very hard to find. It's a 1979 O-Pee-Chee Wayne Gretzky rookie card, Gem 10. So, nearly $4 million in a private sale through Heritage Auctions. The hockey card value record, well, this is it now. And it was previously a Gretzky card as well, which sold for $1.29 million back in 2020. They're the only two cards known to be a PSA 10 grade. So that one was the highest, and now this one is the highest. But, the card business right now is going crazy, and we're seeing a story like this like every couple of days, it seems like.
Okay, good stuff every Tuesday and Thursday at 4:45 Off the Radar with stories like Off the Beat. And sometimes we just don't have time to get to them. We do, and try to get to them as much as we can. When we come back, Rick Barry's going to join us at 5:10, the Hall of Famer. Wanted to get his feedback. We had him on back in the early parts of the show, back in the spring of a year ago. His thoughts about Luka Doncic and also about the NBA. Rick Barry, Hall of Famer, next on SicEm365 Radio.
If you are trying to buy a new home, sell the one you're in, or both, you need to call my good friend Lance Donaldson, the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Lance is a fantastic realtor. And look, right now the real estate market is kind of bananas. It's a seller's market, which means that you're going to get a great price probably for the home you're selling, but if you got to turn right back around and buy something, are you going to kind of burn all the profits you made? You need someone to help you navigate through that market, whether it's a buyer's or a seller's market. You need somebody who knows. You need someone who's going to listen and find that dream home for you and find you that dream home for a price that's not going to eat you alive. That's Lance Donaldson, one of the best guys I know. Man, you're going to love hanging out with him. You're going to love looking at houses with him. You're going to have a blast. You're really going to enjoy the process because Lance is going to make it so that happens. So give him a call, 254-214-3713, or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Couple of updates. Earlier today, Baylor beaten in baseball 9-4 by Kansas State. They're out of the Big 12 tournament. They need a prayer to be a part of the NCAA tournament. Texas beat Oklahoma 4-1, and then all of a sudden, the lightning or whatever bad weather has postponed the game that was about to be played. In fact, any of the games the rest of the day have been moved to Friday. Also, Adrian Boitan beaten today 7-6 and then 3-1. He could not finish the second set against Rodriguez of South Carolina. His run ends in the singles national championship tournament in the semifinal round. Baylor has the doubles team playing this evening. Right now, UT women are in the doubles semifinals, trailing Virginia 6-4, but leading the second set 3-2. One other note about Baylor and the NCAA tournament. I went back and looked at a couple of things to make sure I got this right. I don't know about anything what Baylor has received or not when it comes to the NCAA, but I do know that the timeline is this, that the NCAA will inform an institution 24 hours in advance if they're about to release what they will then say are the penalties. So it's 5 o'clock Central Time. I don't know whether Baylor's been here, has heard that or not, but if you see tomorrow come and go, the report that is being released tomorrow, take it but you get a 24-hour advance, but then a school is only given a 2-hour advance to look at whatever the NCAA releases.
And here that's kind of the NCAA on their BS again. Like, okay, you've got 2 hours to respond to this thing. And if it's Baylor that they took 5 years to work up.
So
you got
5 years for us to try to figure out what we're going to do to you. And so.
What that is, that's the PR of it. They only have 2 hours, so we're going to drop this on them, and hopefully they'll step on their own you-know-whats so that we look better in this. That's the kind of BS that is the NCAA.
Yep.
Well, they're about to be done with anyways. I feel like there's a new bill being pushed by Bernie Sanders. It's a pretty radical bill. It's Bernie Sanders though, so I mean that's to be expected. Just his political views versus some others. And it's basically trying to rip down the entire system. It's basically it's encouraging unions, which I think would be, I mean, unions and college athletes, I don't know about that one, but that's what it's pushing forth, and making student athletes actual employees. They would be named employees, which also would be pretty dramatically shifting everything about college sports. So I don't know how long the NCAA is even in this thing, quite frankly, with how badly they bundled everything. I mean, what if they not bungled? I mean, this is ridiculous.
When they screw up the women's basketball tournament setup,
they do nothing right.
Yeah.
They do nothing right. And so now they've sat on their hands for the last 3 years with name, image, likeness. Basically, you tell us what to do. And then they tell them what they want to do. Oh, no, we don't like that, though. Tell us something else that we should do.
Yeah.
It's like they want the work done for them, and then they want it done to where they like it, and then they will act on it. But, I mean, just time's passing by, and they're doing nothing.
The NCAA reminds me of people who are still waiting for the election to get overturned. it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Or hanging Chad to be found.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look, okay, at a certain point, the candidate that you like is not there, and there's another guy there, so you're just going to have to move on. It's the NCAA. Look, at a certain point, you're going to have to, grasp the fact that you lost the O'Bannon case. You not only lost it, you lost it with gusto.
And you're losing the name, image, likeness battle.
I mean, so you lost that. So and that's name, image, and likeness was O'Bannon. So you've had almost a decade of knowing, and you could have said right at that time, here's the plan.
Well, here's what also, though, then this is the devil's advocate. They have screwed up so much. They've looked foolish when it comes to even how they've treated women's sports as well. And, of course, that got a lot of attention. They screwed it up in San Antonio. So they're pretty arrogant. They still feel like they have Babe Ruth power. And so what will they on occasion do? They'll not do anything to Kansas or anything to most anyone else, but they will screw Stephen F. Austin.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what the first comment. I mean, it's so predictable now. The first comment when Engel put out the Baylor decision's coming tomorrow, which, based on what we're hearing, no, it's not. I don't know how many times he's maybe put that out there and it's not happened, but it's not the first time. So, I mean, we'll see tomorrow. I hope he's right in the end, because I just want this to be done. But, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I just lost my train of thought a little bit, but
that's okay. No, that's fine. But if it comes out tomorrow, then somebody got a leak. But the school is given a 24-hour heads up notice that the report is coming out, but they're given 2 hours to digest what could be hundreds of pages of fine print and legalese to have a reaction to it. There's a devil's advocate that says because it's a weekend holiday, that being released on a Friday like that, maybe that's because they don't want to get hammered for it's not enough. And then again, it could just be it's finally time for them to release it, which even Max said to us on Tuesday when he said it's time. And Baylor wants it out, whatever it is, so they can move on and or also appeal it and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest hurdle they're facing right now. I mean, I know there are other lawsuits going on, and some that will have, some more time to continue to go on. But, I mean, as far as, their immediate issues, this is the one. And once that's out of the way, whatever that may be, then they can start to actually move on.
They've actually been on probation for 5 years since it was launched, actually. We're now joined by Hall of Famer, great segment all the time with Rick Barry, the great Rick Barry on SicEm365 Radio with Craig, David, and Paul. Rick, thank you very much. What are your thoughts when you watch Luka Doncic?
I really like his game. I mean, he was a big surprise. I didn't know much or had seen much of him when he was overseas. I was kind of surprised that he's even as good as he is, because if you look at his body, he kind of reminds me of the Joker, and I love the way both of them play. But neither one of them has what you look at when you see some of the defined bodies of a LeBron James and some of these other guys that are playing in the NBA who have these Greek god bodies that are so incredibly defined. It looks like those guys didn't spend a lot of time in the weight room, but they sure as hell know how to play.
Yeah. Rick, there are a lot of changes in the NBA this year. The chief among them, that play-in game, which your Warriors played in. What did you think of the play-in game and how that shakes out? Do you like it? Do you want them to keep it?
Yeah, I think they should keep it. I think it's great. I mean, anytime you can give an opportunity to continue on and have a chance to possibly get a championship, it's more exciting for the fans. And I think the play-in is great because it's kind of like the NCAA tournament, one and done. I mean, you have one chance to get it done. Well, actually, I guess you have the second chance because if you lose the first game, you have another chance to play again. But the games have so much importance. It's kind of like having all seven, the seventh game of a seven series. And so that makes it very exciting. Personally, when I watch sport, I love to watch athletes perform when there's so much on the line. And so that's why I enjoy that type of a performance and that type of.
What was that like to see Steph Curry about a couple weeks ago, pass you on the all-time scoring list? Is that something that you take note of? Is that something that you pay attention to if somebody's, getting close, especially, obviously the Warriors connection there?
In the last 10 years or so, everything's become so analytical, so statistically oriented. To be honest with you, I had no idea about any of these things. I've learned more things about myself and what I did that I had no idea that I did because it's showing up. It shows up here. Oh, so-and-so just joined, and there's my name. Join me for doing it. I had no idea I did that. I mean, I didn't pay any attention to any of that stuff, to be honest with you. I mean, there's some things I'm actually kind of proud of to see that I'm listed on. That the only one that I knew about that I was proud of that I two things that happened in my career that I remembered that I thought were pretty cool is that I remember I had 25 rebounds in a game, and it was against the Sixers with the great Wilt Chamberlain and Luke Jackson. And I mean, those are big guys, and so I mean that was kind of I felt pretty proud about that. And then the other one was that I think I still may have the record for a forward for the most assists in a game, and it happened on the road in Chicago, and I think I had 19 assists in the game. And I was really very proud of that. And I always joke about it and say, well, I probably had 20 or more because if it was in Chicago, I know they probably screwed me out of the couple.
I didn't. I just know. I read this part, and this is on the Wikipedia page, which is, of course, if we listed all your highlights, we'd be on the air for an hour, which is great. But that you grew up a Willie Mays fan, and then you ended up playing in San Francisco, and he was with the Giants during that time, and then, of course, Oakland as well. How often did you get a chance to meet him, or what was it like the first time you met him?
Well, actually, the first time I actually met him, I was a kid at school, and I cut school. I was in the parochial school, and it was a public school holiday, and I cut school to go to a PAL game. It was an early game over in the Polo Grounds, and so I jumped the fence at the end of the game and ran out to shake his hand before he went up the stairs to the clubhouse, which is out in center field at the old Polo Grounds. And that's why I say, what an amazing country we live in. My boyhood hero, the guy that I admired, because I wanted to be a baseball player. He was a rookie when my father taught me how to play baseball and how to catch fly balls with the basket catch. Nobody had done it. My father said, this is the way you should do it. And here's this rookie comes in, Willie Mays. And then years later, I wind up becoming the personal friend of Willie Mays. I mean, my boyhood hero who had invited me. I get a call that Willie would like you to come to his 80th birthday celebration at Bally's at Atlantic City. I said, oh, that's awesome. What a great honor. I'd be happy to do that. He said, but he also wants you to be one of the speakers. There's only going to be 3 people speaking. He wants you to be the first speaker and tell the story about how you guys met. So
that's amazing. Your boyhood hero ends up being your best friend, and you get involved with.
Well, I know about my best friend, but I think he invited me to his 80th birthday party. I mean, so we went, and so I get there, and when I got up there in front of maybe 2,500 to 3,000 people, it was just packed, and there's all these Hall of Fame baseball players up on the dais, whatever. And so I got up to do the first talk, and I said, I know what every one of you out there is thinking right now. And they looked at me, and I said, you're thinking, what the hell is he doing here?
Yeah.
And so I got him to tell the story about how I met Willie when I cut school. So, yeah, so he's always been my hero. He was my number one hero. And then in basketball, the guy that I looked up to admire was Elgin Baylor. And then later in life, I get a chance to guard her in basketball. I mean, how incredible is that?
We asked you when you were on the show last year about why more guys don't shoot underhanded free throws. I was curious how many free throws when you were younger and then when you practiced did you shoot a day? Because you I mean, even underhanded, which like you said makes the percentage a lot higher. You had to how many a day?
I never had a specific number. I just would shoot a lot. I do know that when I was playing, even when I got to the pro level, that in practice, I would shoot more free throws than the other guys who needed to shoot more than I did. And I was always thinking to myself, why the hell aren't you guys out here shooting a lot more free throws? And when I coached, I always remember the team said, okay, well, make 25 free throws before you go. well, I mean, no, take 25 free throws. They said take 25. And I'm saying when I'm coaching, I said, no. You have to make 50 before you leave the gym. And the reason is that, hey, you could shoot 25. What the hell difference does it make how many you make? You get 25 up and you get out of the gym, and you go to the locker room and you go home. So, if you have to make 50, you have to concentrate a little more and focus, because if you want to get out and leave, you have to make 50 free throws. And so I always felt that that's the most important thing, is the concentration, focus, and having good technique. So there's just a lot of guys that could really help themselves and help their team. And I just don't understand why you would do anything within reason to do it. I mean, if you could stand there throwing it over your head with your eyes closed and make more higher percentage, and I say do it that way. Isn't it all about how many you make,
yes,
not how you look?
Yeah, absolutely. You started out with the Warriors, and obviously you guys won a world championship in the 70s eventually as well. But, Rick, you were a part of the ABA for quite some time. I lived in Virginia, and I watched the Virginia Squires, and I don't know if Dr. J was there at that time or not. I don't remember, but you were there. I know you didn't like it there, but you played in the ABA for quite some time. What was that like?
Well, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I never went there. I mean, the thing is that I had an agreement verbally not even to have to leave the Bay Area. If the team ever left the Bay Area from Oakland, that I wouldn't have to leave. And that never did get resolved in court. And so I honored every contract I ever had. I never broke a contract. And I finally got, fed up with all of this stuff that I was, being not treated fairly. And so I basically just used Sports Illustrated, who've done some horrible things to me over the years. But I used Sports Illustrated to try to get out of having to play for the Virginia Squires. And I think the title was The Reluctant Virginian. I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and they had me in a Virginia Squires uniform, but I never did play for them. And Doc, I think, joined them a year or so later, but it was quite an experience. But it worked because I was able to get traded, and I got traded to the Nets, and that was a great opportunity for me. And I got to do a bunch of broadcasting work up there and further my career, and get to play for Louis Carnesecca, who was one of my favorite coaches ever. And we had a good team. Should have won the championship. We didn't win the championship because guys didn't listen to what the coach said we should do. We wound up blowing a game in Indianapolis that we should have won, and we should have come back to the Nassau Coliseum up 3-2.
What do you think of this version of the Nets with the unbelievable?
Like it happened yesterday.
Yeah. What do you think of this version of the Nets with the unbelievable scoring potential they have every night?
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable how teams are, gathering all these great players. I don't blame them. I don't blame a player for leaving to go someplace to win a championship. They got more money they could spend in 50 lifetimes. So it's not about the money, or at least it shouldn't be. I mean, if it's about winning a championship and having a chance, why would you not do it? I don't understand why you wouldn't. And everybody gets mad at them and saying, well, why? What's the loyalty thing? Trust me, there is no loyalty when it comes to sports. If your value all of a sudden diminishes and you can't help the team out, they're going to get rid of you and get somebody else. So if you have an opportunity to do something to better your life, why don't you do it? I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed to do it? And in the real world, hey, if you guys got offered a hell of an opportunity to go to a big station somewhere and get paid a lot more money, what are you going to say? No, I owe my loyalty to the team, to my radio station here.
Yeah, go ahead, Craig.
Oh, Rick, I was just curious. The Bay Area, especially the city of Oakland, they went from, having a bunch of sports teams to now the A's are looking at the possibility of moving out. The Raiders are already gone. The Warriors have left, although not that far away. Having just spent a lot of time there to see the city of Oakland go from, 3 pro sports franchises to now one that may or may not be around for that much longer. What does that make you think?
That is a business.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as the loyalty. It's definitely a business. And I was there when, for a 12-month period of time, we were the epicenter of the 3 major sports. I mean, we had the A's who won Major League Baseball, World Series champions. We had the Raiders who won the Super Bowl, and we won the NBA championship. So it was a pretty remarkable time, and we had a lot of great players, a lot of great teams, and I felt sorry for the fans a lot, and the fans were great. But the thing is the fans just have to go across the bay to go and see the Warriors still. So it's still in the Bay Area. But, the city has gotten itself messed up a little bit. And I'm not even going to start talking about politics in the entire state of California.
Probably smart. I understand, though.
Back to Luka and what he's done. The height, the players and how well they shoot, no matter their height. Now, there's some guys that are just big, tall guys that can't shoot it. Are you more and more amazed at how athletic, and you were a hell of an athlete, no question about it, how good the guys who are 6'8", 6'9", even 6'10", or whatever, like Durant and company, can shoot the ball?
Well, it's like you say, they're amazing athletes, and they have incredible skills. But the reason being for some of that, well, first of all, the athleticism and the other stuff doesn't come from all of the training and things. It comes from the fact that you have genes in you that have the opportunity, blessed with the opportunity to have those genes to give you those types of skills. But then you can refine them. And the people would say to me, well, you guys can play today with these guys. And I say, you must be joking. I said, seriously. I said, you know how much better I would be if I was playing today? I mean, I was fast and quick both, which is the biggest, my size for the guy my size. Back in those days, there weren't a lot of guys that had that. But if I had a strength coach, an agility coach, I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance, dietitian, eat the right foods. We ate the wrong food. It would be crazy how much better I would be. And when you bring up Doncic, I think of myself and I watch it. In fact, my wife and I were talking the other day. I said, honey, if I could get back and I was younger and had a chance to play, I'd be a point guard because I was quicker than the guards. I could handle the ball. I'd have to be a better ball handler because that's something that the coaches allowed guys to all of a sudden do more. I think they do a little bit too much sometimes, but I would just have to improve my ball handling skills a little bit. But I could see the floor, and I love getting an opportunity to set up my teammates and make a good play to get an easy basket for one of my teammates, more so than I did scoring myself. And so I could control the destiny of my team being the point guard. And if I could put back again and do that, I would be a point guard without question. And hopefully play, like Doncic plays. He's pretty remarkable.
What was weight training like when you played?
None.
None.
Zero. Absolutely zero. And there was absolutely nothing. Nautilus came in, but we had nothing on the team. We had no strength coach. We had no training program. We had nothing.
What, did you do something yourself, or did you just let your raw athletic ability and work ethic do what you do?
I did a little bit, but nothing of any significance. I started using the Nautilus. That was at the end of my career. And I even look at some pictures of myself. When I first came into the league, I looked like I was chiseled and cut and spent a lot of time in the weight room. No, but I really didn't. I mean, I know when I was doing my working in the summer in college before my last year, I would do push-ups on a sheep. I was on a tractor trailer on a tractor, a Caterpillar thing, pulling big what they call a sheep's foot roller to pack down dirt on road jobs. Working for my roommate's father, and so I would just waiting for the dirt to come in and get pulled down. I do a lot of push-ups and things of that nature, but I didn't do anything. I didn't lift weights and do anything. But I was fortunate enough to have a decent body, and I looked like I spent time in the weight room. But no, absolutely nothing. That's the thing that shocks me about it, is that how antiquated it was. It's so sophisticated now, and on top of it, all of the stuff it's done, it's all sports specific. You play a certain sport, there's certain training programs you go through to maximize the potential of you to develop your muscles and and all the other things in your body to its fullest. It's incredible what's happening. That's why you're seeing some of the remarkable things that take place in sports today.
Did you play other sports besides basketball?
No, I said Willie Mays is my hero. I was a baseball player.
Baseball, okay.
And I was an all-state baseball player. I was a better baseball player in high school than I was a basketball player.
Wow. When did you realize that the basketball was the better option?
Well, the reason I went to it is I probably should be sending a gift to the junior varsity coach in baseball at my school when I went to Roselle Park, because I was playing junior varsity as a sophomore, and when I didn't pitch, he wouldn't play me. And I said, Coach, please. I said, I'm hitting 500. I can hit better than anybody on the team, and I have played every position on the field. I don't want to catch. I learned that at an early age. I didn't want to be a catcher. I said, but I can play every position, and I did pitching. And I said, so when I'm not pitching, I want to play. And so the next game I start, I pitch, I go 1 for 2. Next game I'm on the bench. So I said, that's it, I'm done. So I said, I'm not playing baseball anymore. So I went, I focused and dedicated myself to working on my basketball game and spent the whole summer doing that and committed myself to that. The next year, the varsity coach asked me to come and play. And I said, well, am I going to get to play if I don't pitch? He said, absolutely. I said, okay, I'll play. And so I made All-State 2 years. I mean, I batted 460 or something in my junior year, and I think 360 my senior year. And the only reason that was is that I hit the ball better, but I was skinny, late developer, maturing wise physically. And we had a fence out in right center field, and I was hit balls, but I was a little late, but I still hit them, and I was hitting home runs over the fence and stuff in right center field and right field. And then I got bigger and stronger over the next year, and I started pulling balls. There were no fences, and so I was hitting balls that would have been home runs that were out.
Yeah.
So so my batting average went down, but I rarely struck out. I think I only struck out 8 times or something in one of the seasons. I mean, so I had great eye-hand coordination and was a really good baseball player.
Rick, when you retired, and you had been in the league for nearly 2 decades, when you retired, did you miss the roar of the crowd? Did you miss the locker room, the camaraderie? What did you miss the most initially?
I missed the competition.
Mm-hmm.
I miss going out and competing. I love to compete, and of course you miss the camaraderie. It's kind of fun. You're like a big family. You're together more than with your teammates during the course of the season than you are with your family, for heaven's sakes, for half the year or more. And I miss that, but I miss the competition. I miss putting yourself out there for failure in front of people. I love playing in front of the crowd. I love that. And that's why I looked for other things when I got done. That's why I found long drive competition. I got into doing that. And I won some world championships doing that. And now it's pickleball, and I'm playing pickleball now. I absolutely love pickleball. I've won 2 U.S. Open gold medals and have won a bunch of tournaments playing in my age group and my skill level. And it's the fastest growing sport in the United States, and getting involved actually with the thing that people can check it out called Pickleball Connections, which will be on the web. .com, pickleballconnections.com should be out there in the next week or 2. But I'm really getting immersed in that and doing some stuff for a CBD company. That's the CBD, official CBD product for the Professional Pickleball Association. And just doing a lot of really cool things. And in fact, I'm busier now than I've ever been. But yeah, that's the competition. And you get the butterflies. Even now, I know I'm ready because, I got to go. I have to go. My wife tells me not to tell the story, but that's okay. I have to go to the bathroom before I have to play. Okay. And if I didn't have to go to the bathroom, anxiety of wanting to go out and play and compete. And so even now with when I go to play pickleball and when I went to the long driving, I had to do that. If I didn't do that, I knew I wasn't mentally and physically ready to go out and compete. And so that's the kind of stuff. I don't miss going to the bathroom thing, but I still have to do it. And I just played last week in a tournament and I had to do the same thing. And so that's just kind of my way of getting ready. It's better than what Bill Russell did because he threw up all the time.
Yeah, I remember those stories. Hey, Rick, it's always great to have you. You're so good to be with us. Appreciate you always responding. Have good luck with the pickleball, man. It sounds awesome. I know that it's a fast-growing thing, and continued luck with it.
Yeah, well, let me tell you people real quick. rb-ml.com, rb-ml.com. They can learn about CBD. You really need to learn about this. And then if you put number 24 in any of the codes that they have, you'll get a nice discount. So rb-ml.com. Check it out.
All right. Rick Barry, by the way, speaking of CBD, I tell about Vitadreams from Don Humidor. I'm about to do that. Rick, thank you very much. The Hall of Famer Rick Barry on SicEm365 Radio. We're going to hear from the new football coach at Ellison High School. Paul's 5 at 5:55. And speaking of CBD, if you are someone who struggles at night when it's time to go to bed, when you struggle, say you waste 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, and you're not able to fall asleep, you can do that with Vitadreams from Don Humidor. Yes, they have 48-foot walk-in humidor loaded with all the great names of cigars around the world. No question. Coffee beans that can be ground right there in front of you. One of the favorites they have there is called the Cowboy. But they have Vitadreams. And if you lose 30 minutes of sleep, think about this before you go to bed, all throughout the week, and maybe more. You're talking about what could be hours of sleep, and how much would you love those extra 30 minutes when the alarm goes off? You would. Don't have to hit snooze. Doesn't mean you won't, but you get that extra sleep. It's Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed. Smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Alan Samuels is celebrating the Jeep Memorial Day sales event. It's an exciting time for the Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with up to $3,750 in values or 0% for 72 months. Jeep Cherokee Laredo, built tough as nails, and up to $3,750 in values or 0% for 72 months going on now. Jeep, a great SUV. Alan Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer. The best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340. Alan Alan Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, Danny Cervantes is the new head coach at Ellison High School. We're waiting on him, but he's on a Zoom call right now with his principal. And if he wants to last more than a half a day as the head coach, he probably needs to remain on that Zoom call. So we might push him back to tomorrow. I want to repeat again what I said prior to when we had the Hall of Famer and Rick Barry, who is very open and very transparent with pretty much anything that we ask him or anything he wants to give to you. The NCAA, the report in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram that the NCAA report, the penalties, whatever it might be, will be released tomorrow. That's what the report says. The protocol on something like this is that the institution involved in an investigation is given a 24-hour heads up that the report with the findings and all of it goes with it, you get 24 hours advance notice it's coming out. So if it's going to come out at 11 o'clock in the morning, they're going to notify you by 11 o'clock the next day or the day before. Then if it's going to come out at 11 o'clock, at 9 o'clock that morning, you get to read it. 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock. 6 o'clock, you get to read it at 4 o'clock. You get 2 hours to digest what could be, I don't know, hundreds or maybe at least dozens and dozens of pages on all of the various parts of the report after a 5-year plus investigation. So whatever happens tomorrow, I hope to God it does come out, no matter what the response or consequences are. I want it to come out. I'm tired of thinking about it. And I'm not even a part of Baylor. We just cover them.
So, to your knowledge, has Baylor been given a 24-hour notice?
It doesn't appear so.
Okay. So, unless the NCAA has changed course on how they operate, then tomorrow will not be a day where we find out. But maybe they do.
Yeah, and again, that's just me. And again, Baylor cannot comment on this. They can't sit there and text me, yeah, we got it, or we didn't. That's just me doing a little bit of due diligence whenever and with whoever I possibly can. And most of the people I'd like to be able to contact, they're not talking about anything. But as of now, as about 30, 45 minutes, an hour ago, it didn't appear that they had received the notice the report was coming out. That doesn't mean that the NCAA might have gone, oh, my God, we forgot to tell you.
Yeah,
and that wouldn't surprise me, but I doubt that's the case.
Yeah, so if we were to enter another week, we're now getting into June. We're passing the 5-year mark of when this started, and now we're approaching football season. So if Ingles' report is to be believed and they wanted to avoid, kind of tarnishing the Baylor men's championship run and having those coincide, and which is what he says is why they didn't release it a month ago when that was first expected, because you may have been on SicEm365 and saw Brian or somebody post like, hey, it's expected to come down, and that never happened. And it's because, again, it's another situation where rumors are it's going to happen, and then it doesn't. So maybe this is another one of those cases. Maybe we finally find out. But, okay, if you don't do it now, are you just going to do it in the middle of the summer when no one's on any campus whatsoever? No, you're going to do it in football season then? Like just right in the middle, tell them they can't play in a bowl game potentially? Or is that going to then go into 2022? And so guys who were barely in middle school now have to miss a bowl game if that's one of the
here's another thing.
Just freaking drop the gosh dang investigation report and be done with it. Like, what the hell are you even doing at this point?
They don't care about what we think.
No, I know they don't, but it's absurd.
What starts on June 1st this year?
Recruiting.
Yeah, you get to start.
So, okay, then it'll come out June 2nd then probably.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just like I don't care about the shorthanded NCAA offices. I don't care about the cuts they had to make because everybody's had to make cuts in every single walk of life except for the uber rich that we bow down to and just take everything from. But it's just it's insane. It's insane that it's taken this long. It's insane that we keep guessing on when it's finally going to drop. It's insane that it could or could not drop tomorrow, and we've done this like 4 times now. I just drop the dadgum investigation. You either have what you have or you don't. But like this dragging on the way that it is just ridiculous.
And using layoffs as an excuse would be
BS.
Something that if you started that this year, if it was something you started doing in 2020, then that's an excuse. But it's something you started doing 5 years ago. So again, let's not. Let's just not.
It's just excuses. It's excuses. It's excuses for why they haven't dropped it yet. It's been long enough. They had 4 years to investigate before the last year, and they've also had this past year. And just because you can't be in your offices, as we've shown and as basically the entire country has shown, doesn't mean you can't still be doing your job. So whatever shorthanded – I mean, where's Baylor on the priority list? I mean, you're clearly not having anybody doing anything about name, image, likeness. So what the hell are you even working on right now at the NCAA? You're not doing name, image, likeness because you're basically wanting the government to tell you how to do it and then to tell them, well, yeah, but we don't exactly want to do it that way. I can't think of any other major cases that are really going on right now. You didn't do jack squat about basketball. That was all a bunch of nonsense. So what are you even working on? Like, what's getting done? What is the NCAA getting done right now?
Well, they're working on ordering some new weights.
The bowl
for the women's
schedule's
basketball
out.
team.
Hey, we got the bowl games are out. Oh, woohoo!
Look, they're probably getting new office furniture. I mean, that can be.
They're not doing their jobs.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, because of what I just laid out. I mean, Baylor was the biggest story in the country 5 years ago. Every single media person possible took every shot imaginable at every turn, and Baylor did a lot of it to themselves, intentionally or otherwise. I don't know. I'm sure some of it was intentional, but they did do a lot of it to themselves, and people piled on. And 5 years later, even people who cared back then don't even care at this point for the most part. They're just like, all right, let's see what it is. Like, man, it's crazy. It's crazy that we're still just sitting here waiting, waiting.
Yeah, it is.
So I hope tomorrow's the day. I hope tomorrow is the day, even if they haven't given the proper notice or whatever to our.
Well, they could give the notice right now, and it could be 20. It'd be even more of a weekend, Memorial Day, holiday weekend news dump, and you could take that for what it is. But whoever's been notified or not, an institution's supposed to be given 24 hours heads up that it's coming out, and then they get 2 hours prior to when the entire thing is thrown out on the table to digest it and have a chance to possibly react to it. So tomorrow might be interesting, or tomorrow might just be a Friday before Memorial Day weekend. Who knows? When we come back, Paul's 5 at 5:55. This is SicEm365 Radio. Pioneer Steel and Pipe since 1943. Imagine that. 1943, they opened the doors to their business, and here they are with locations in Waco and Bryan, and here they are building a brand new, amazing facility on Loop 340 and 12th Street. What they started was digging dirt, and now what they've done is poured concrete. Next thing you know, it's starting to go up. You cannot, as a business, survive since 1943 without at least two things. One, well, you might have a little luck along the way. But no, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You have to have great product. You can be a great restaurant and have tremendous customer service. Your food's bad, people aren't going to come, no matter what. And you could be what Pioneer Steel and Pipe is, metal, steel, and pipe. But if your product is something that doesn't always work or there's always a problem with it, no matter how nice of people you are, it won't matter. So that means that their product is excellent, absolutely state-of-the-art, as good as it gets. From 1943 through all the changes in technology and the way things are built and whatever, distributed. And you better also have great customer service, because that means when somebody goes there to get metal or pipe or steel, they want to come back. You feel like you're the only one that's there, even though you see other people there as well. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, locations in Waco and Bryan, open Saturday mornings from 8 until noon, building their brand new facility on 340 and 12th Street at pioneerboys.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hey, we're qualified buyer with 4,000 down at 2.9% TTL extra. See deal for details.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Hit the road in a 2016 Buick Encore for only $152 a month, a 2016 GMC Sierra for only $318 a month, a 2018 Mercedes GLA for $334 a month, or a 2015 GMC Terrain for only $135 a month. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's a Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
That alumni football game has started at Waco ISD. With Waco High having their spring game on this evening, had Lyndon Helt on. We're not going to be able to get to Danny Cervantes, who's the new head coach at Ellison High School, comes from Odessa. Did not have much success there. Also was at Estacado in Lubbock. He's in a Zoom with his principal, and so we respect that. Baylor football, the first three games, it's not about the time, 6 and 11, or 6 p.m., 6 p.m., and 2:30. The first three games are also on ESPN+, but we've discussed this before. That used to be like someone scratching their nails against a chalkboard back in the day. Sons of ESPN+, I've watched some things on ESPN+. If I can do it and find it, then you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to get kickoff times, and you can plan accordingly now. You know, if you live in Dallas or Houston, maybe it's not as much of a planning thing, but if you're out of state, like a lot of fans will likely be for, you know, some of those games, then you can start to get your plane tickets or whatever the case need be. But just glad no 11 a.m. so far, and those should all make for some pretty satisfactory pregame times as far as doing this show and doing the pregame like we did last year. So I'm okay with those.
Women's basketball will play Michigan. I told you that on Monday, right? They're going to play Michigan and possibly Louisville. They'll play Michigan in the Naismith Women's Showcase. It's a doubleheader, UConn, Louisville, and then it's going to be also a part of that doubleheader is Baylor and Michigan. I don't care who plays first or second. I just know that's the doubleheader. They don't play each other, whoever wins or loses. It's just 4 teams, 2 games, and that's going to be up at the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame Showcase at the Mohegan Sun, which is a place that's starting to host quite a bit. That's where Baylor was supposed to play, wasn't it, against Arizona State?
Yeah.
Before they got shut down. I'm going to give this to you, Craig, for possibly even next week. Naomi Osaka about news conferences, if you want to look at that.
I actually know this story if you want me to talk about it.
How much time do we have until we have to hit you?
4 minutes.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Okay. Well, basically, Naomi Osaka, she's been dealing with some mental health issues. She's a fantastic young women's tennis player, and she's basically burnt out on answering media questions. And even said, and I actually thought this was a very interesting point, that by not doing media interviews, she doesn't allow questions to basically put negative thoughts in her head, and make her think about things that she normally wouldn't be thinking about if some reporter from the New York Times hadn't asked her, like, hey, do you ever, you know what I mean? And so she's basically doing it as a health measure, a mental health measure, as much as she's doing it because, she just feels like those people don't care about athletes' mental health, and also it distracts her from her main purpose. But we can talk about it more, at a different time.
Be interesting, because sometimes I can see if you're an athlete or a coach or whatever in those media sessions, and we've seen it. We've had, we've asked questions for months throughout the season, and then you get to a certain point, and then others start to come in and ask the same questions and act like it's breaking news.
Yeah.
So I can see where she probably gets fed up with that a little bit. Danny Cervantes just tried to call us back. We'll push him back to sometime tomorrow. Texas women are in the final of the doubles championship. They came back to beat Virginia, lost 4-6, then won 7-5 and 10-8 to advance to the championship in women's doubles. Baylor and their doubles partner I just went break. Sven Law and his teammate, they're playing next down in Orlando to see if they could play for the men's championship. Adrian Boitan lost earlier today, could not complete the second set.
Yeah, it was down 3-1 when it happened, and I'm not sure, I didn't see what the injury was or anything. I'm probably just
exhaustion.
Gassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Constantine Franson is the
Franson, I'm sorry. Paul, you brought this up, so we'll do it, and then your Falcons.
Yeah, thank you. This works right into it.
Falcons have been offered, according to a report, a first-round pick for Julio Jones. The Titans appear to be a long shot. Now, this is a report. Diana Rossini, we've had her on the show before, used to cover RG3 with Washington for a while. Atlanta has asked teams to inquire about Jones for a first-round pick. the rumor mill means that somebody, 4 teams, Paul, or 1 team, has offered a first-round pick.
But they say the sources are telling Diana Rossini that the Falcons have an offer of a first-round pick.
Okay.
I would be willing to wager that, and knowing that we'll never know who the sources are because that's not how it works, but my guess is the sources are the Atlanta Falcons because they're trying to chum the water to get this done because they need to do it on or before June 1st. I mean, they do it after June 1st, but they'd really probably like to know that after June 1st, we're going to announce this trade officially. Julio Jones is going to this team.
Yeah, and didn't we just have I zoned out for a second, but we just had it was a John McClain or somebody that was like, he's not even worth a first right now.
Yeah.
He's not even worth a first rounder. So, yeah, this absolutely screams the Atlanta Falcons or Julio's people trying to spin the wheels and get something going because, yeah, it's been quiet for the most part, and I don't recall who that was. It might have been David Hellman or John Machota, but somebody this week was like, he's not even worth a first rounder right now.
No.
So we'll see. But
different than teams talking about drafts. That whatever they're saying, they're pretty much trying to set somebody up or lie. Yeah. All right.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
All right, top 5 best fits for Julio Jones. Thank you, Smokey, for that synergy.
And
nice
believe me, you and I have not talked since 6 o'clock yesterday.
Oh, we didn't.
So I didn't know.
We didn't until 3 o'clock today.
We haven't talked since 6:07 yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't at all. So we're to make up for yesterday's awkward end of the show. We have to do that sometimes so people know that we're not robots. Brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club. For tickets for our Saturday night show at Rogue Media Network. By the way, the club's coming along great. Got a picture of the stage, pretty much done. A lot of things going up at the club. Should open sometime here in the next month or so. And really looking forward to that. But we have a show Saturday night, 8:30 at Rogue Media Network, doing some improv comedy with my friends Amber and Mike and Kevin and Katie. Should be a good time. So coming out and see us. There'll be a food truck outside as well of Rogue Media Network. So when you come by, you're going to have a big old time. But top 5 best fits for Julio Jones. And this meets with Jack's approval. He was mad about yesterday because I made him put 2 pictures. Here's the thing. He was mad about yesterday. I made him put 2 pictures on every slide. And then the thing went off like a turd in a punch bowl. So it's doubly bad.
Yeah.
It's doubly bad.
And then the next day, I saw 2 snakes.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Number 5, the Chicago Bears. Look, you just got Justin Fields. You need weapons to pair. Somebody to pair with Allen Robinson. I would think that this would be good. The Bears don't have the cap room to do this, unfortunately. These are best fits. This is probably not where he's going to wind up, I would think. But I think the Bears would be a great fit right now for Julio Jones. Number 4, the New England Patriots. Again, young quarterback. They just drafted Mac Jones, also an Alabama guy like Julio Jones. No relation. But
Gives Cam a weapon?
But Cam, they've got Cam. Cam's a weapon. You're going to have him for a couple years. It gives the Patriots a legitimate offensive threat that they haven't had since even before Brady's last season. So
yeah, no, going back to the Bears, he would definitely be their best receiver. It's not even close. But with the Patriots, that would definitely be an interesting fit. I'm very curious about the Patriots this season and kind of what they're gonna look like because they seem like they're set up pretty dadgum well and the kind of how they've maneuvered this post Brady era. Julio would be a tremendous weapon for them.
Yeah. Number 3, the 49ers. Always seem to make moves. With Trey Lance, and then they still have Jimmy Garoppolo. So at quarterback, they have someone with experience. They've got a rookie that they like. They have Deebo Samuel coming back. They've got Brandon Ayuk coming back. This would be a veteran to kind of take some pressure off of them. I would like that for the 49ers, a team that was 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. And then I know Jimmy Garoppolo isn't any great shakes, and they drafted Trey Lance to take his place eventually, but they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and Garoppolo was hurt most of last year. So was Bosa and all that. So the 49ers are a team, with a bullet to me.
If you in the next 2 have a certain logo that pops up, you have become our clicks and views king.
No, absolutely not.
Right,
I would never. It makes absolutely.
Because we'll end the show the same way.
Yeah, absolutely no sense. Okay. Number 2. This would go a long way to repairing the relationship with your future Hall of Fame quarterback and the defending MVP, the Green Bay Packers. Could you imagine, even in Julio Jones, not as good as he once was, but lining up across from Blue Adams? I can't. It would be the stuff of nightmares. But the Packers won't do this.
What's his name?
They call him Blue.
Oh,
Blue
okay.
Adams. Devontae Adams. You didn't know that?
No.
Blue, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
You notice how the Packers logo compared to the first three is just shinier, clearer. Boy, there's no bias in the media, Jack. Yeah. All right. Okay, I like that. That'd be great.
It'd be great. But again, the Packers are not going to do it. They have no desire to make Aaron Rodgers any happier. They just don't do these things.
Alex Smith went off on the Packers. I don't know if y'all saw that, but Alex Smith absolutely ripped the Packers for their handling of Aaron Rodgers. He said it's inexcusable how they got to this point. Said Aaron's been there for 16 years.
Has he really?
And, giving them basically everything. And he says for them to what happened to last year during the draft, I haven't talked to Aaron, so I don't want to put words in his mouth, but clearly watch the interview, hear him talk about it. It's about the people, and it is. And, yeah, he just ripped the Packers. So it'll be interesting. I mean, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's staying put. But
I think Alex Smith is trying to position himself for an analyst job. He popped the Redskins, and now.
By the way, did you see the follow-up Teddy Bridgewater saying that? Oh no, that's not what I meant about Matt Rule and the practices. But it came out like 2 weeks later. Yeah. So I guess he finally caught enough heat for that, maybe, or talked to some people that he backtracked that, but we didn't probably see it or hear it because it wasn't. Inflammatory.
That's boring.
Yeah, exactly.
That's boring.
Yeah. Kind of like the Tate Wallace story.
He said it's boring. Words were taken out of context, is what he said.
Yeah. Also, all right, number one, and this I think would be great. I think, and A.J. Brown has tweeted about it. The Tennessee Titans. I mean, if you have a lineup, I mean, for Ryan Tannehill, who's really a great redemption story in the NFL, but if you have a lineup that is Derrick Henry in the backfield, and your wide receivers are A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and Josh Reynolds is now moves into the slot.
Former Aggie?
Yeah, I mean, heck.
Former Tyler Junior College Apache?
That is one formidable offense. Plus, Jonnu Smith at tight. I guess Jonnu Smith left, but they have, tight. I mean, they're good. They're good. I mean, that would be a team that would be very formidable. I don't know if it'll happen.
That's a very unique mixture of 5 logos. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have a team in the Packers who's been good year in and year out for a long time. The Patriots had their down year. 49ers up and down. Titans, they did they underachieve after who they were at one point?
I mean, no. I mean, they lost in the playoffs last year, so they're in that.
They're in the mix, man. They're a team that should be around for a while.
I like Vrabel, and then of course you have the Bears, who hopefully they get their quarterback situation settled. Was it Justin Fields who they drafted?
Yeah,
is that right? All right. Thank you, Jack. Thanks to Emma and Hayden, and also thanks even to Armstrong. Our guests today, Cliff Harris, Lyndon Help, Art Strickland, and Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer. Paul Catalina, 5 at 5:55. Craig's off the radar.
Real quick before we go, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Southwest Sports Medicine. My mom had surgery this morning. Dr. Ferguson did a great job. So Southwest Sports Medicine, thank you very much.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in their brand new location. I'm having lunch with Matt Rohrer, in fact, next week. I'm David Smoak. Thank you for watching. This is SicEm365 Radio. Good night.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.